Chapter 1480. If the Zhuang family had come to her wedding today, then everything should have belonged to her. Ning Xiaola was almost driven crazy by this thought. But now, she watched as Ning Shi stood on the red podium and gave a speech in front of everyone's eyes. Her dream wedding had become a nightmare, and it was completely ruined. After Ning Shi's speech, the audience burst into thunderous applause, and then the host announced the start of the donation ceremony. In a daze, Ning Xiaola saw Zhuang Ke walking to the podium, and the host was introducing the items that Zhuang Ke had donated. A bracelet. Zhuang Ke had said that she would attend her wedding, but she appeared here and donated the bracelet that she had left in the car. Ning Xiaola's face was as pale as a ghost behind the mask. Did the Zhuang family really know that she and Ning Shi had been switched? Just because the Zhuang family found out that she was not their biological daughter, they treated her like this? Ning Xiaola was the eldest daughter of the Ning family. She was the only daughter that Zhuang Lingyu had admitted herself to be. She was the granddaughter that the Zhuang family should have recognized. Why? Why did it become like this? Ning Shi was such a bitch. How could she? Ning Xiaola was worried that she would be discovered if she stayed here for too long. So she gritted her teeth and left in a hurry. There were too many things that she had to solve now. In addition to Zheng Minjun's anger, she could already predict the overwhelming media reports tomorrow. An hour later, Ning Shi's charity event also came to an end. In addition to the guests who came later, Ning Shi also had a lot of friends. Most of them were artists from Xianxia Entertainment, and some of them were partners that she had met when she was filming. After the event, Jiang Mai, who couldn't stay idle, gathered a large group of friends to sing in KTV. Of course, many people responded to his call. Therefore, a large group of people left the exhibition center and followed Jiang Mai to the KTV party. As the host, Ning Shi had to stay behind to do some finishing work. During this period, Jiang Mai called her several times to urge her. Ning Xiaoxi, have you finished your work? Come on, everyone is waiting for you. Jiang Mai urged her anxiously. Ning Shi sorted out the donation materials and said helplessly, "Golden Retriever, are you on steroids? Why are you so excited? I've been tired for the whole day. Where would I have the energy to accompany you?" Jiang Mai's complaint immediately came from the other end of the phone. "Fuck, you're really taking my kindness for granted. It's not you who's going to accompany me. It's me who's going to accompany you, okay?" Ning Shi raised her eyebrows. "Huh? Why did you purposely come here to accompany me?" Jiang Mai snorted. "Su Yin, we're going to consummate our marriage tonight. Aren't you afraid that you'll let your imagination run wild tonight?" "Cut the crap. Are you coming or not?" Who would have thought that this guy could actually think of this? She had almost forgotten about it. Hearing Jiang Mai's impatient tone, Ning Shi felt warm in her heart. She said, I see. Send me the address. I'll be there right away. Also, it's my treat tonight." "Humph, that's more like it." Jiang Mai hung up the phone with satisfaction. Ning Shi smiled helplessly. After finishing her work, she immediately rushed to the address that Jiang Mai had sent her. Well, if she had the ability to predict the future, if she had known that she would be cheated so miserably by Jiang Mai, she would never have gone on this trip. Chapter 1481. To make it convenient for them to go there directly, the KTV was just across the street. Ning Shi walked there directly after leaving the exhibition center. Well, if she had the ability to predict the future, she would never have gone to the KTV if she had known that she would be tricked by Jiang Mai so miserably. After arriving at the KTV, she called Jiang Mai while walking upstairs. "Golden hair, I'm here. Which room are you in?" That. Jiang Mai stammered on the other end of the phone. "Which room? You don't even know which one?" She was speechless. Jiang Mai coughed lightly. "Oh no, Ning Xiaoxi, that you don't have to come." She was speechless. "Golden hair, are you kidding me? I'm here. My surname is Jiang," Jiang Mai said weakly. "Get lost. Don't change the subject. Which room are you in? Did you drink too much?" She frowned. She felt that Jiang Mai's tone was a little strange. Someone next to Jiang Mai heard Ning Shi's voice and shouted into the phone. "Is that Brother Shi? We are in V888 room. Come on. She didn't think much about it. She hung up the phone after knowing the room number. She looked up and found that V888 room was not far away. She walked over and pushed the door open. The moment she pushed the door open, she felt as if she had been struck by lightning. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. She decisively slammed the door shut again, and then an earth-shattering scream rang in her mind. Ah! Fuck! What the hell did she see just now? What the hell? Even if it was just a brief glance, even if the room was full of people, those people were too conspicuous. It was impossible for her to ignore any one of them. Jiangmai, Xianxia, Yinshan, Lu Tingxiao. Jiangmai, you bastard. Didn't you say you would play with me? Fuck you. You guys could just go and play mahjong by yourselves. Xianxia was one thing, but why were Yinshan and Lu Tingxiao here too? While she was reorganizing her worldview, the door of the private room was pushed open from the inside. 2 girls from the same company enthusiastically pulled her in. Brother Shi, why are you standing at the door? Come on in. Brother Shi, come quickly. Let me tell you, Big Boss is also here today, and President Yin. Before Shi could speak, she had been pulled in by the 2 girls. Because they knew that she had a good relationship with Jiang Mai, they even specially reserved a seat for her beside Jiang Mai. Shi braced herself to avoid the gazes of the other 3 people and then stared at Jiang Mai. Jiang Mai, do you want to die? How dare you trick me? It wasn't easy for her to get through the charity event, but the 4 of them actually gathered together again. Jiang Mai put on an innocent face and shrank back in fear. I didn't invite them at all. How would I know they would come? Didn't I warn you later and tell you not to come? Shi pinched her brows and gritted her teeth. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because of these people, she really didn't have the mood to care about her other ex-boyfriend now. Fighting poison with poison? Huh? Chapter 1482. Originally, Jiang Mai was just holding a small private party, but Lu Jingli, the boss, also came to join the fun. Not only did he come, but he also brought Lu Tingxiao, the big boss, with him. Because of Lu Tingxiao's arrival, many of the big shots in the business circle who had just left the charity event also came to join the fun. Finally, even Yinshin came. Therefore, the nature of this private party suddenly became a business gathering. In short, it was completely inappropriate. It was better to go home and have a good sleep after it was over, but in the end, they had to endure this. She sat there, as if there were needles growing out of her, but she couldn't sit still no matter how hard she tried. In her boredom, she could only unconsciously drink until her sweetheart's gaze drifted over. Lu Tingxiao had the most people around him, so he didn't have a moment to rest. She didn't expect him to notice her. After being warned, she chuckled, buried her head, and sent Lu Tingxiao a text message. Anyway, you're here, so it's okay even if you drink too much. Lu Tingxiao seemed to be listening carefully to the unceasing speech of a certain boss next to him. At this moment, his phone vibrated, so he looked down at it. His distant expression suddenly warmed up a little, and he didn't continue to stop Shi. From time to time, people around Shi would talk to her out of curiosity with a hint of probing in their tones. Brother Shi, you're so amazing. So many people came to the event today. I was shocked. Isn't that so? I thought the guests at Ning Shui's wedding of the century were scary enough, but in the end, they're nothing compared to you. She took a sip of wine and said calmly, it just so happens that the higher-ups have been promoting this recently. Plus, with our big boss's promotion, I'm just a small shrimp representing the company. Hearing Shi say this, the artist who came over to talk to her revealed a look of understanding. Because today's extravagance was too terrifying, they couldn't help but wonder if she had some background that they didn't know about. But when they thought about Shi's rise to fame, they felt that it was unlikely. If she really had such a powerful background, how could Shi have played so many supporting roles for so long before she finally made it to the A-list? What did it mean to truly have a backer? Shi had never played a supporting role since her debut. Every movie she acted in was a big production from a famous director that cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Winning the Best Actress in her first movie was the right example. Therefore, when they heard what Shi said, they didn't doubt her words at all. On the contrary, They had a good impression of Ningxi's honesty and her attitude of not deliberately taking advantage of others. There were many young people in the room. Everyone suggested playing truth or dare. Ningxi had a headache when she heard this game. Wasn't it courting death to play this game when there were 4 of them? Thus, Ningxi decisively escaped. He walked to the end of the empty corridor to take a breath of fresh air. However, just as he leaned against the window for a while, he heard footsteps behind him. Ningxi turned around and saw Xianxia standing there, his eyes muddled and his body reeking of alcohol. Looking at the person in front of her, Ningxi really had a headache. Xianxia, I've already said what I should say. What do I have to do for you to end the feud between us? Just tell me directly. Xianxia's white fingers ran through his hair. His brows were wild and unruly, and the corners of his mouth were full of a cold smile. And the feud? I actually fucking lost to a good-for-nothing gigolo who has no face, no money, and no family background. Do you think I can swallow this? Chapter 1483. Xianxia had been suppressing his anger ever since he discovered the ambiguous relationship between Ningxi and Mingyu. He had been wondering what kind of man could make a woman like Tangxi fall in love with him. Little did he know, it turned out to be a gigolo who relied on a woman to get ahead. How could he be reconciled to that? The corner of Ningxi's mouth twitched. Gigolo? Did he mean her sweetheart? You mean Mingyu? She raised her eyebrows. Don't tell me you're not having an affair with that guy. I've been paying attention to you two for a long time. If you're not having an affair, I'll swallow this trash can. Xianxia pointed at the metal trash can next to him and said angrily. She clicked her tongue, thinking that Xianxia's eyes were quite sharp. He found a right person so quickly. She originally thought that he would suspect Jiangmai. She didn't answer his question directly, but asked, then, who do you think my man is so that you can swallow this? I'll find him and let you die, okay? You're the one who's going to die. Xianxia was so angry that he almost died on the spot. Hey, I'm serious. Tell me a name that will let you swallow this. Let's settle this grudge today. She said. Xianxia looked the girl up and down. He knew that her words were ridiculous, and she was obviously playing with him, but he was so angry that he actually began to think about it. He wasn't bragging, but he looked down on all the male celebrities in the entertainment industry, including Jiangmai. As for those outside the entertainment industry, he didn't like many of them. Xianxia couldn't be blamed for being arrogant. His father was a wealthy businessman in City H, and his second uncle was the vice president of Hollywood's TL Entertainment Company. His family was one of the richest even outside the entertainment industry. There were many rich people these days, but which of them wasn't an old man in his 50s or 60s? There were also many rich second-generation heirs. None of them had a face like his. Xianxia thought for a long time, but only a few candidates came to his mind. They were the ones that he was truly convinced of. Hey, have you made up your mind? She urged impatiently. Xianxia leaned against the wall, lit a cigarette, and smiled maliciously. Give up, woman. Unless it's Lu Tingxiao or Yunshin, no matter who your man is, we'll never forget each other. The Lu family was the biggest family in the capital. Lu Tingxiao was a legend in the Chinese business industry. Although Yunshin had just emerged in China, his background was unfathomable. Xianxia had purposely said 2 impossible names to make things difficult for her. After hearing these 2 names, Xianxia didn't expect of Mo to bring her. She had expected Xianxia to mention Lu Tingxiao, but she hadn't expected Xianxia to add Yunshin. Hearing these 2 names appear at the same time, he felt a little strange. The most important thing now was to deal with them one by one. After Xianxia finished speaking, she decisively picked up her cell phone and made a call. Hello, sweetheart. I'm at the end of the corridor near the emergency exit. Can you come? Xianxia frowned as he looked at Ningxi. Who are you calling? Xianxia frowned and looked at Ningxi, who suddenly made a call. Who are you calling? Xianxia frowned as he looked at Ningxi. Who are you calling? Chapter 1484. Xianxia frowned. Just now he heard Ningxi call that man sweetheart on the phone, which sounded so disgusting. Was she calling that man? And, judging from her voice, this man seemed to be one of the men in the private room tonight. Who could it be? Or was this damned woman playing tricks on him again? Was she deliberately mystifying things? Mo Qianxiu stared at her warily. Tang Shi, what the hell are you doing? Ningxi shrugged innocently. I'm trying to solve the problem. Just keep your word and don't go back on your word. Mo Qianxiu sneered. Are you going to tell me that your man is Yinshan? Speaking of this, Mo Qianxiu's face changed slightly, because he remembered that there seemed to be something wrong with the relationship between Ningxi and Yinshan when they were in the crew. It was also rumored that Yinshan was Ningxi's fan and invested in the crew for Ningxi. Was Yinshan really Ningxi's man? However, when Ningxi told him that she had a man, it was when they were shooting a TV commercial together. At that time, Yinshan had just arrived in China, and he hadn't met Ningxi yet. Was this damn woman lying to him again? Mo Qianxiu was lost in thought when Ningxi shook her head and said, You're wrong. Yinshan is the former, and Lu Tingxiao is the current. Mo Qianxiu was immediately jolted out of his thoughts by Ningxi's words. He was speechless and almost vomited blood. He frowned and said, I must be crazy to talk nonsense with you for so long. How much wine did you drink tonight? Ningxi spread out her hands. Does no one believe the truth nowadays? Blue veins bulged on Mo Qianxiu's forehead. It was obvious that he wouldn't believe a word of her. Fuck the truth. It's because I believed in your nonsense that I ended up like this. But I didn't lie to you this time. Get lost. The two of them were quarreling when steady and powerful footsteps sounded from afar. Mo Qianxiu subconsciously turned his head and saw a tall figure. The man was wearing a black suit. His face was as cold as frost, and his aura was oppressive. He walked towards him and Ningxi and finally stopped in front of them. Lu Tingxiao, what was he doing here? Did he also come for air? Was he tricked by Ningxi? Just as countless thoughts flashed through Mo Qianxiu's chaotic mind, Ningxi suddenly threw herself at Lu Tingxiao, threw herself at him, threw herself at Lu Tingxiao. Not only that, but what shocked him even more was that after Ningxi pounced on Lu Tingxiao, she actually put her arms around Lu Tingxiao's neck, and then without saying a word, she pulled Lu Tingxiao's neck down and directly kissed him forcefully. Mo Qianxiu's face was full of confusion as he stared blankly at the scene in front of him until a sharp pain came from his fingertips. It was the end of the cigarette that had burned his fingers. On the phone, Lu Tingxiao didn't ask why Ningxi asked him to go there, but he didn't expect to see Mo Qianxiu there. Lu Tingxiao's eyes flashed. Before he could say anything, his wife had already taken the initiative to throw herself into his arms. Lu Tingxiao's eyes flicked. Then he and said, and in Ning in thought, she's and said, and he, Yanai Lu. Chapter 1485. Like a puppy, Ningxi hugged the man and nibbled at him, her eyes full of possessiveness. Lu Tingxiao chuckled and gently rubbed the girl's head, his tone doting and indulgent. What are you doing now? Ningxi hugged Lu Tingxiao and snorted as she looked at Mo Qianxiu, who was petrified. Nothing, it's just boring to be alone. I asked you to come over and play with me. Lu Tingxiao glanced at Mo Qianxiu. How could he not know what Ningxi was thinking? Helping his wife deal with his rival in love and acting as his wife's shield was naturally something that he could not ask for and would gladly endure. Moreover, he had been in love with Ningxi for so long, and it was rare for Ningxi to reveal his identity. At this moment, Lu Tingxiao was no longer cold and aloof. He looked at the girl tenderly, leaned forward and kissed the corner of her lips. Are you going home? Ningxi nodded. I wanted to go home for a long time. It's all Jiang Mai's fault for tricking me into coming out. It wasn't until the two of them had left that Mo Qianxiu, who was behind them, came to his senses and said anxiously, Wait. Ningxi paused and turned to look at Mo Qianxiu. Hey, you're a man. Are you going to go back on your word? Mo Qianxiu ignored Ningxi. Obviously, he was afraid of being tricked by Ningxi. Even now, he still couldn't believe her. He stared at Lu Tingxiao and said, "President Lu, may I ask what your relationship is with Ningxi? Who is Ningxi to you?" And Mo Qianxiu clenched his fists, thinking that these two might just be putting on show. Maybe they were just lovers, bedmates, or even nothing more. After all, Lu Tingxiao had claimed to the public that he already had a girlfriend. This damned woman. She said she was different from him, but in fact, she was the same. Lu Tingxiao looked at the man in front of him expressionlessly and replied calmly, "My future wife." With that, he turned to leave with Ningxi in his arms, ignoring Mo Qianxiu's expression. Behind him, Mo Qianxiu's face was blank. He was completely stunned. Lu Tingxiao's rumored girlfriend was Ningxi? He thought she was drunk, but it turned out to be true. Lu Tingxiao was really her current. Then Yinshen, was he really her predecessor? Mo Qianxiu did not dare to continue thinking about it. Ever since he had known this woman, she had never acted according to the rules. When Lu Tingxiao came to find her, he had already said goodbye to the people in the private room and left first. Lu Tingxiao went to the garage to wait for her. She went to say goodbye to the people in the private room and left first. When she returned, Yinshen wasn't there. It seemed that he had also left early. On the way home, tonight, she finally got through without any mishap. She said with a relieved expression, "Alas, I finally got one. Honestly, sweetheart, you're really too useful." It was the ultimate peach blossom destroyer. Judging from Mo Qianxiu's expression, I'm sure he won't bother me for the rest of his life. TSK. Only Lu Tingxiao could solve a romantic crisis. Lu Tingxiao chuckled. "Thank you for the compliment. But there's one more flower that won't be so easy to cut. Alas, what should I use to cut it off?" She murmured. She thought Lu Tingxiao didn't hear her. However, a moment later, Lu Tingxiao's calm voice came from the side. "Marriage certificate." How ruthless. Chapter 1486. She went to Lin Ziji's place in the middle of the night in order to save enough dowry to get her hands on the ultimate marriage certificate. Lin Ziji did not go home after the charity event. Instead, she went to the company with Xiao Tao and the rest of the PR department. This time, Ning Shuilua's so-called wedding of the century was completely messed up. It was impossible for Starlight Entertainment to do nothing. So as soon as the event ended, Lin Ziji immediately mobilized her people and made all the necessary preparations to deal with Starlight Entertainment's tricks. The next morning, all the newspapers and the internet were filled with reports about the wedding of the Ning and Ning families. Unlike what everyone had expected, all the reports about the wedding were accompanied by the name of Ningxi and a charity event that was previously unknown to everyone. Ningxi's charity foundation ceremony was filled with VIP guests killed the wedding of the century. The secret behind Ning Shuilua's wedding of the century, the charity of the century versus the wedding of the century. The reports described the entire process in great detail. Ning Shuilua's wedding went from being filled to the brim to being completely empty, and the extravagance upstairs was enough to shock the entire capital. What a joke. Let's see how Starlight Entertainment is going to be so smug in the future. They were killed by our golden era. That's right, a small charity event from our golden era is enough to crush their wedding of a century. Ever since Su Yimo's downfall, many people have been saying that golden era is on the verge of collapse. Let's see if they still dare to say anything now. It's a piece of cake for golden era to get another female star. I'm afraid there's going to be another Su Yimo. I don't think so. She hasn't changed at all since she took over. She's still a good person. She even helped me when I was bullied by Meng Shi on set. Speaking of which, last time my program was intercepted by Starlight, it was Shi who helped me solve it. Brother, she is very powerful. With just a few words, the director was so scared that he immediately returned the program to me. Su Yimo only knew how to exploit us when she was around, especially female artists like us who had a conflict of resources with her. She kept a close eye on us, as if she was afraid that we would take away her position. But she is quite protective. That's the difference between having and not having power. With Brother Xi's power, he's not worried about being taken away. Compared to the relaxed atmosphere of Golden Age entertainment, the entire Starlight Entertainment was shrouded in a layer of dark clouds. Yesterday, more than half of the company's people had gone to Ning Xueluo's wedding to support her. Seeing Ning Xueluo's embarrassment and embarrassment, even they had lost face. Of course, there were also many who rejoiced in his misfortune in Chang Li's office. On the first day of the wedding, Ning Xueluo arrived early. At that moment, the expression on her face was unprecedented. Chang Li was so busy that she finally got some time. Xueluo, let them be happy for a while. I'll leak out all the information that I prepared in the afternoon. This time, I'll definitely make Ning Shi suffer. Hearing Chang Li's words, Ning Xueluo's expression did not ease at all. She had taken action, but it did not mean that Lin Zhizhi would not take precautions. It was unrealistic to rely on these to defeat Ning Shi. She needed more effective means. Chapter 1487. A few days ago, the internet was still full of celebrities and celebrities showing off Ning Xueluo's wedding invitations and gifts. Everyone was waiting to see how popular it would be after the actual wedding. In the end, no one expected that the wedding would end up like this. Ning Xueluo's grand wedding was slapped in the face by Ning Shi's small charity event. For a while, there were all kinds of voices on the internet. Some laughed at Ning Xueluo, some gossiped about Ning Shi's background, and many thought that Ning Xueluo spent more than 1 billion yuan on a wedding banquet. On the other hand, the first thing Ning Shi did after becoming famous was to do charity. Soon, this netizen's comment became a hot topic. For a while, those who were dissatisfied with Ning Xueluo's grand wedding came out to comment. Haha, Ning Xueluo is not holding her own wedding. She is giving the media a wedding. It's just for show. I want to say that Feng Ilan, who just won the Nobel Prize and won such an honor for the country, didn't get any attention. Instead, the whole world is talking about a female artist's wedding. Can this society be good? I think the charity headquarters and the higher-ups can't stand it anymore. So they deliberately did this to correct the atmosphere of the entertainment industry. Originally, the internet was full of ridicule and accusations against Ning Xueluo, but in the afternoon, the trend gradually changed. Be that as it may, don't you think there's something strange about this whole thing from beginning to end? Why does Ning Shi's charity event happen to be on the same day as Ning Xueluo's wedding, and they are both upstairs and downstairs? Even if all this is the intention of the higher-ups, there are so many veterans in the entertainment industry. Why did they choose Ning Shi, a female artist who became famous overnight? Wedding is the most important thing in a woman's life. What's wrong with making it grand when they can? Ning Xueluo is not the only one who does this. It's too unfair to only blame her, isn't it? But Ning Shi makes me feel that this charity event is too deliberate. It's like a show. Haha. This charity foundation is very complicated. Do you think artists really set up a charity foundation to make money? Have you forgotten the scandals of Wang Li and Fang Yihua? In the end, the public opinion was led to 3 points. Ning Shi deliberately chose this day to steal Ning Xue's limelight. Ning Shi had a backer, and Ning Shi used charity funds to make money. The first 2 were still manageable. Almost all female stars would encounter such scandals. Without any evidence, the rumors would disappear in a few days. However, the latter was serious enough to destroy an artist. The scandal of Wang Li's donation fraud had caused her reputation to plummet. Fang Yihua's foundation's accounts were unclear, and a series of scandals not only made it impossible for him to continue in the entertainment industry, but he also almost ended up in jail. One could see how ruthless Ning Xueluo's move was. Fuck. These people are too shameless. We clearly set the time and place a long time ago. Who cares about being on the same day as them? Even though she was prepared for this, Xiao Tao was still furious when she saw the comments online. Put up the first piece of evidence first, Lin Zhizhi said. Okay, got it. Xiao Tao immediately logged into Weibo and posted the evidence that she had booked the time and address 3 months ago. Chapter 1488. Not long after Ning Shi clarified, Ning Shua immediately shifted the focus. After all, they also knew that the first 2 points couldn't bring Ning Shi down, so they focused on the third point. Soon, people who claimed to be insiders began to expose all kinds of rumors, claiming that Ning Shi was insidious, hypocritical, embezzled charity funds, and made a lot of money in the name of charity. They made it sound as if they were hiding under Ning Shi's bed every day and knew everything. Because this matter also involved the higher-ups. If Ning Shi made such a scandal, the higher-ups would never sit idly by. Even if it was due to the pressure of public opinion, they would definitely investigate it thoroughly. Although Chang Li didn't have definite evidence, there were too many stars in the entertainment circle who did this. She was sure that Ning Shi couldn't be clean. As long as she made a big fuss about this matter on the internet, the higher-ups would intervene. As long as they found something dirty, Ning Shi would be completely doomed. Shua, do you know how much Ning Shi's villa in Peach Blossom Dock is worth? Also, she recently bought a few sport cars. Even if she's popular now, it's only been a few days. How could she have gotten so much money so quickly? Even if she added up all her acting fees and endorsements, it still wouldn't be enough for her to be so extravagant. There must be something fishy going on, Chang Li said confidently. Oh, of course, Ning Xiaolua sneered. Did Ning Shi think that she could be free from worries just because she had a relationship with Zhuang, Ke and the higher-ups? Now she was going to use this to hasten her death, with Ning Xiaolua's full effort to add fuel to the fire. All kinds of rumors soon spread on the internet. Many netizens didn't have the ability to judge. They just stood by the side of the public opinion. At present, things were going in the direction Ning Xiaolua predicted. She didn't believe that the Zhuang family would still be indifferent to Ning Shi's matter. Would the Zhuang family allow her to be dragged into this? She couldn't find anything fishy about Ning Shi, but if the Zhuang family took action, they could definitely. However, this time, Ning Xiaolua miscalculated again. Chang Li first started with Ning Shi's character. She made up all kinds of facts to smear Ning Shi, saying that she was hypocritical and made a show of charity, so that people would gradually believe that Ning Shi would embezzle charity funds. However, when the matter was almost ready to put pressure on the higher-ups to carry out a thorough investigation, Ning Shi's official Weibo suddenly released a piece of information. Ning Shi's charity work over the years. There were money orders like snowflakes and letters of gratitude from students who were sponsored. They had been there since Ning Shi was 18 years old, rain or shine, and they had never stopped. If Ning Shi's charity work was just for show and to suppress her peers, then what about before she entered the entertainment circle and became famous? Why did she have to do these things without a break? There was no need for Lin Jiji to do anything else. The reporters flocked to the various mountain areas, welfare homes, and other places to interview and collect evidence. If it was only 1 or 2 families or 1 or 2 people, it might be possible that Ning Shi was faking it. However, after searching everywhere, it was confirmed to be true. In an instant, the entire internet was in an uproar, and the public opinion was instantly reversed. At first, no one understood why the higher-ups chose Ning Shi and even made her the charity ambassador. But now they understood. Chapter 1489. At this moment, many people were paying attention to the situation on the internet, the Zhuang family. In the living room, Zhuang Liaoyuan, Zhuang Zhongren, and Meng Limlang were all there. They already knew what had happened on the internet. It was obvious that someone was deliberately promoting this matter. If they couldn't solve it well, it would be very troublesome. What was more tricky was that as long as they intervened, even if the final result of the investigation proved that Xiaxia was innocent, the rumors on the internet would not disappear because the other party could continue to manipulate the public opinion and say that they deliberately shielded Ning Shi. Because they had to take Ning Shi's reputation into account, they had more concerns. At this moment, the 3 of them were discussing how to solve this problem, when Zhuang Ke, who had been staring at the computer, suddenly screamed excitedly and ran to them with the computer. Dad, Mom, Grandpa, look! The 3 of them looked at each other and then looked at the computer screen together. Then they saw the dense remittance records and the children's thank you letters, as well as childish words and drawings. Zhuang Kurt turned to the latest news she had just found, which were all interviews by reporters, including the dean, the village teacher, and most of them were the faces of innocent children. Yes, Sister Xiaxia came here the day before yesterday. She brought us a lot of delicious food and books. I like Sister Xiaxia the most. When will Sister Xiaxia come to see us again? Not only interview materials, but those reporters also got a lot of old video materials. Looking at these, Xianxia looked proud. I told you that you don't have to worry about this matter at all. For some reason, no matter what happened, she had a kind of blind confidence in Xiaxia. Even though she knew that Ning Shui was her cousin, she still stood by Ning Shi's side without hesitation. Now, the public opinion on the internet was instantly reversed. The previous rumors against Ning Shi, and even the unfavorable remarks and doubts about the government and the charity association suddenly disappeared. So naturally, they didn't need to intervene at all, which was undoubtedly the best result. Looking at the video materials, Zhuang Zhongren sighed, and his heart was full of regret. Such a good child, but she suffered so much for no reason. Meng Linlang knew what Zhuang Zhongren was thinking and immediately said with a smile, "Dad, you should be glad that Ningxi didn't grow up with her parents. Otherwise, she would have been led astray by them. Isn't it better now?" Ahem. Zhuang Liaoyuan coughed. Although his wife's words were explicit, they were also true. Of course, it wasn't enough to turn the tables. Lin Zhizhi naturally had to fight back. In fact, she didn't even have to do anything on purpose. People on the internet had already figured out who was behind this. As a result, Ning Shihua, who had just been ignored, was once again pushed to the forefront. Now I know that you really can't judge a book by its cover. Who said that all beauties are poisonous? Ningxi is actually quite pitiful. Everyone says that she relied on her face to get to where she is today, but I don't see how she relied on her face at all. Instead, she was treated unfairly because of her face. Haha, it's not that I want to say this, but with my brother she's good looks. If she really wanted to rely on her face, why would she work so hard in the entertainment circle? She would have become the wife of a rich man. Now some people should shut up. Can he go back in time and do these things 5 years ago? Someone's way of diverting attention is really good. As for who those people are, I don't think I need to tell you, right? Chapter 1490. Changli fell into the chair, her face ashen. They had completely miscalculated this time. No matter how much they thought about it, they never expected that Lin Zhizhi would be able to produce such evidence. Ningxi had been doing charity work before she entered the entertainment industry. Now, no matter what they said, it was useless. Ningxi's popularity, reputation, and image all soared, which was like a free hype for Ningxi. The effect was much better than Lin Zhizhi's own publicity of Ningxi's charity work. They had worked so hard for so long, but it was all for someone else. At this moment, Changli even began to regret helping Ning Shuo against Ning. She found that things were getting out of her control. It would have been fine if it had happened once or twice, but it had happened so many times. It was definitely not a coincidence. Ningxi was indeed very difficult to deal with. As expected, the next second, she heard a loud noise and Ning Shuo's angry curses. Ning Shuo's temper was getting worse and worse, and her life was getting harder and harder. Everyone knew how gentle and dignified Ning Shuo was, but only she knew what the real Ning Shuo was like. She knew so many of Ning Shuo's secrets, and it was too late to regret it now. She met Ning Shi and Lin Zhizhi occasionally, and saw Ning Shi treating Lin Zhizhi kindly and getting along with them as if they were friends. It was impossible to say that she didn't have any feelings. Ning Shuo finally finished venting her anger and said with a vicious look, "Don't panic. I told you that Ning, she is just meat on my chopping board. No matter how high she jumps, she will die as long as I want her to." But now that they had each other's weaknesses, it was not time for her to fall out with Ning Shi. Even if they fell out with each other, Ning Shi would definitely die a more miserable death. She still had to do what she had to do. Otherwise, Ning Shuo would take the opportunity to lose her temper again. Changli covered her bleeding arm, which had been injured by the flying porcelain shards, and forced herself to say, "Now we can only keep a low profile for a while and let the public opinion die down. I've just received news that The Mountain has been nominated for this year's Golden Horse Awards. You've been nominated for Best Actress. I'll find a suitable time to release this news. Also, I'm in talks with director Robert. It shouldn't be difficult to get a role. As an actress, in the end, everyone still looks at the work of an artist." Ning Xiaolue pinched her eyebrows, and her face was gloomy. She had spent so much effort and finally got this nomination. In addition, she had just gotten a role in a Hollywood blockbuster. Although it was just a cameo for a few minutes, it was not easy for an Oriental face to show up in Hollywood. This meant that she would officially enter the international market, and her career would start a new chapter. How could Ning Shi, a bitch who had fallen to the point of acting in a TV series, compare with her? Keep an eye on Ning Shi. She didn't believe that she couldn't get anything on her. Hearing this, Changli could only agree. In fact, Lin Jiji was guarding Ning Shi like an iron bucket. In addition, she vaguely felt that there was another force in the dark. She had investigated for so long, but didn't find any clues. Even if she continued, it would just be a waste of time. However, it was impossible for her to tell Ning Xiaolue about this. Even if she did, she would only get a scolding for not doing her job well. Chapter 1491. For Ning Xiaolue, the entertainment industry wasn't the most troublesome thing. She had more important things to do than deal with Ning Shi. She asked Changli to help her turn down all her recent jobs and spend all her time with Su Yin, especially to please Zheng Minjun. Originally, if the Zhuang family had attended her wedding, her position as the eldest daughter-in-law of the Su family would have been secured. But now, she had to bow down to that bitch, Xianxia, and listen to her sarcasm and ridicule. "Mom, history will be invited to Lorraine Fashion Week soon. These are the first-row tickets. Mom, you can go and have a look when you have time." Zheng Minjun took the tickets and looked very happy. Not everyone could get these tickets, let alone the front-row seats. "Thank you, Xiaolue. You're so considerate." Ning Xiaolue smiled obediently. "You're welcome, Mom." Just then, Zhao Shanshan came downstairs with a newspaper in her hand. She deliberately approached Su Yan's mother and Ning Xiaolue and said sarcastically, "Oh, the daughter of a rich family is indeed the daughter of a rich family. Mom, look at her manners. She's been doing good deeds for so many years without leaving her name. She's a real daughter of a rich family. She has the blood of a rich family flowing in her veins. She's noble in her bones. She's not as petty as some people. She can't wait to advertise her achievements all over the world." "You?" Ning Xiaolue was trembling with anger. This Zhao Shanshan's mouth was too poisonous. She had to do something, or she would always be in a passive position in the Su family. "All right, Shanshan, stop talking. Xiaolue is your sister-in-law." Compared to Zhao Shanshan, who was Su Sun's wife, she was naturally on Su Yan's wife's side, even though Zhao Shanshan's words poked at her the most. Ning Xiaolue's background was indeed the biggest thorn in her heart. "I'm just telling the truth. Isn't she a country chicken?" Ever since Zhao Shanshan found out that this title could make Ning Xiaolue lose control, she had been incessantly provoking her. Just then, a little maid that Ning Xiaolue brought with her after she got married suddenly rushed over and said angrily, "Second madam, you've gone too far. Our young miss has just entered the door, and you're already bullying her like this. Our miss was brought up by our madam. She is the most educated and reasonable girl. She is not petty at all. It is Ningxi, who was raised in the countryside. Do you think she's really as good as she looks?" Hearing this, Ning Xiaoluo immediately said with a pained and wronged expression, "Little Ling, stop." "Xiaoluo, why are you stopping her? Let her speak." "Little Ling, what's going on? What did Ningxi do?" Zheng Minjun immediately asked. In fact, she had felt a little strange at that time. Why did her son, who was determined to be with Ning Shi, suddenly break up with her? At that time, she had thought that it was normal for her son to fall in love with someone else after seeing the better Ning Xiaolue. At that time, she was immersed in the joy that her son had finally figured out, and Ning, she had finally been sent abroad by the Ning family. so she did not look into it. But now she found that things seemed to be a bit unusual. Seeing Ning Xiaoluo's hint, Xiaoling was about to tell her what Ning Xu meant. Ning Shi. Just then an extremely cold and angry rebuke came from the door. Shut up. It was Su Yin who spoke. Su Yin, who had always been as gentle as jade, had an unprecedentedly terrible look on his face. Xiaoling was so scared that she didn't dare to say a word and couldn't help trembling. Chapter 1492. Even Ning Xiaoluo was shocked by Su Yan's reaction. Brother Yin, I'm sorry. I didn't teach this girl well. Go and settle this month's salary with the butler, Su Yin said coldly. Xiaoling was terrified. Young master, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Please don't drive me away. Brother Yin, please spare her this time. Xiaoling has always been by my side and has been taking care of me for so many years. This time, I just couldn't stand it anymore. Ning Xiaoluo looked at Zhao Xianxia with tears in her eyes. All right, that's enough. You just got married. Don't make such a fuss on your wedding day. Xiaoling, get out of here. Xianxia, go back to your room. Zheng Minjun said unhappily. Zhao Xianxia curled her lips and left with a dark face. Ning Xiaoluo was really good at pretending to be pitiful. No wonder Su Yin was always under her control. Su Yin, why are you so angry? You should at least listen to what she wants to say. Zheng Minjun sighed. Su Yin frowned. Mom, you know I hate it when servants talk about the master's business. What she wants to say is nothing more than Xiaoxi's lack of social etiquette when she first came back to the Ning family. What else can she say? Zheng Minjun thought about it. What could a little girl like Xiaoling know? That was probably what she wanted to say, so she didn't ask further. However, seeing her son's protective attitude, she couldn't help but think too much. After all, she was born in her belly. She knew Xiaoxi best. Could it be that Su Yin still had feelings for her? A moment later, in Su Yin and Ning Xiaoluo's room upstairs. Brother Yin, are you still angry with me? Ning Xiaoluo walked carefully to the balcony. What did Xiaoling want to say to Mom just now? Su Yin stood by the balcony railing. His expression melted into the night, and his voice was slightly cold. Ning Xiaoluo panicked, but soon calmed down. What else could it be? Xiaoxi's lack of social etiquette and caused trouble back then. Su Yin turned around and took a deep look at the woman beside him. His expression was extremely serious. Xiaoluo, remember what I told you. What happened back then had a great impact on Ningxi. You can't let anyone know about it, including everyone in my family. What's more, it was our fault. Big brother Yin, of course I know how much this matter will affect big sister. How could I speak carelessly outside? Brother Yin, you don't believe me? Are you suspecting that I purposely wanted Xiaoling to tell Mom about this? Ning Xiaoluo's face was filled with disbelief. She was on the verge of breaking down. Su Yin remained silent. He had interrupted Xiaoling in time, just now. Now, there was no way to find out what Xiaoling wanted to say at the time. At that moment, Ning Xiaoluo's face was already covered in tears. She staggered a step back, and her eyes were filled with despair. Brother Yin, am I that kind of person in your heart? Su Yan's expression softened when he saw the girl's extreme sadness and thought about the grievances she had suffered over the past 2 days. That's not what I meant. I'm just reminding you. Don't cry. I was too harsh. I'm sorry. Ning Xiaoluo sobbed and threw herself into Su Yan's arms. Brother Yin, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I just want to be with you. I just want to marry you. Why do they have to say that about me? Chapter 1493. Zhao Xianxia, ignore her. After spending some time with Mom and Dad, we'll move out of the mansion. As for the rumors on the internet, don't read them anymore. People who believe in you will believe you, Su Yin said. Ning Xiaoluo looked upset. Brother Yin, do you think I'm better? I don't deserve you with my background. What are you talking about? If I cared about that, why would I be with you? Su Yin frowned and patted the girl's back. I'll take you out in a few days. I've already booked a place for our honeymoon. Don't think too much. Ning Xiaoluo nodded in the man's arms. Yes, Brother Yin. I don't want anything right now. I just want to give you a child. In order not to be in a passive position, she was able to tell Zheng Minjun about Ning Xi's scandal through Xiaoling. She didn't expect Su Yin to see it, and he had such a big reaction. What made her even more uneasy was Su Yan's attitude towards Ning Shi. It didn't seem like he was just feeling guilty. Now that Su Yin was suspicious of her, she could only let it go for now. When she was pregnant with Su Yan's child, the eldest grandson of the Su family, she didn't believe that Zheng Minjun and Su Hongwang would still have anything to say. Whether it was for the Su family or the Ning family, this child was very important. She couldn't tolerate any more mistakes. The next day, Ning Shihua took the time to call the Tang family. It was the first time in years that she took the initiative to call the Tang family. On the other end of the phone, Sun Lan sounded very excited. She seemed to be in disbelief. Hello? Shua. Luo? It's me. Luo, why are you calling me? Is there something wrong? I wanted to go to your wedding, but I was afraid that you would be unhappy, so I didn't go. How have you been? Sun Lan asked carefully. Ning Shihua said, send me your account number. Tell me how much you want, but only this once. Sun Lan immediately refused. No, it's been solved. The person who borrowed the money has returned it to us. Luo, I'm sorry. They came to us every day with knives. I had no choice but to ask Xiao Nua to go to the capital to find you. I really didn't mean to trouble you. All right, I don't have time to talk to you about this. Since it's settled, then forget it. Let me ask you, which city did Tang Nua apply for? Ning Shihua asked. Sun Lan thought that Ning Shihua was concerned about her brother, so she answered happily, Xiao Nua. Just yesterday, Xiao Nua told me that she was preparing to fill in the imperial capital for her application. This child, he had always wanted to enter the imperial capital since he was young. His results were not bad, so there shouldn't be any problems. He hasn't been out much since he was young, so I'm really worried about him. When he goes to university, I want to go and accompany him, but Xiao Nua said I don't need to accompany him. Sigh. This is all in the future. We'll discuss it when the time comes. While Sun Lan was rambling on about her daily life, Ning Shihua was frowning more and more. Asked Tang Nua to change his major and fill in another city. Sun Lan froze when she heard this. She didn't know how to react. If you still feel any guilt toward me and still treat me as your daughter, ask Tang Nua to change her major and stay away from the capital. Ning Shihua was being straightforward. Chapter 1494. Of course I treat you as my daughter, but what does it have to do with which city Xiao Nua applies for? Sun Lan was anxious. Ning Shihua's tone became even worse. Now Ning, she has exposed my identity. Even my husband's family knows that I am not the daughter of the Ning family, but the daughter of a village woman. Do you know how difficult and embarrassing my situation is now? Why did you ask Tang Nua to come to the capital and come with him? Are you afraid that there aren't enough people who know about this? Sun Lan's heart ached when she heard the daughter of a village woman. She didn't expect that her daughter would despise them so much. Sun Lan's voice trembled. Shihua, I know it's difficult for you, but this is about Xiao Nua's future. I don't have to come to the capital, but I'm afraid I can't change Xiao Nua's choice. Xiao Nua has been longing to go to the capital for a long time. If I tell him to change his choice now, how can he bear it? Ning Shihua sneered. Oh, you say you could do anything for me, but now it's about your son. Is this your so-called love? Shihua, no. Shihua, let me think. Let me think about it, okay? This is not something I can decide alone. City C, Spring Breeze Town. In a low bungalow, Sun Lan sat at the table and wiped her tears. Tang Shan squatted on the threshold and smoked. The youth's face was full of anger. Why? Why should I change my choice? Who does she think she is? What right does she have to ask us to do this and that? You didn't raise her for a day, but what about her? Has she ever been filial to her? Who owes her anything? Sun Lan cried, Xiao Nua, don't say that. She is your sister, and she is in a difficult situation now. She said that her identity has been exposed and her husband's family knows about it. She is in a very bad situation now. Tang Nua's face darkened. So what if it is exposed? Shouldn't we have told everyone about this 5 years ago? Does she really think she is the daughter of the Ning family? All of this belongs to my sister. Sister she has occupied it for so many years. Isn't it enough? Mom, can you not be so selfish? Even if sister she is not your biological daughter, she has been in our family for 18 years. She is the first one to appear when we are in trouble. I didn't say anything bad about Cece. Now we're talking about Shui Luo. What about your sister? She's worried that more people will find out about her if we go to the capital. I know it should be Cece's, but it wasn't easy for your sister to get to where she is today. She is just married into a family like that, so she must be having a hard time. If we are so close to her, even if we don't look for her and don't get discovered by anyone, she will still feel uncomfortable in her heart. She will always be on tenterhooks, not having a good time. She lived a life of luxury and married into a rich family. What was so hard about her life? After occupying someone else's things for so long, she deserved to be on tenterhooks. Mom, think about how she has treated us all these years. I really don't know what you have to feel guilty about. The youth was so angry that his face turned red. Dad, don't tell me you also agree to let me change my major? The young man looked at his father. Chapter 1495. While the mother and son argued, Tang Shan did not say a word. He did not have a mind of his own to begin with, and now he had no idea what to do. Hearing his son's question, he subconsciously glanced at his wife, then stammered, Xiao Nua, actually, what your mother said makes sense. You don't have to go to the capital. There are many good schools in other places. At most, you can go to a city that is closer to the capital. It's the same. Tang Nua's face was full of disappointment and anger. You guys, I will never change my major. I want to go to the capital. No one could stop me. Not only did he want to go to the capital since he was young, he wanted to go to the capital even more after Xianxia left. He missed his sister. He endured for so long, just so he could go to the capital one day. That way, he could be closer to his sister and see her often. Now, that person made him give up his goal and wish with just one sentence. What right did she have? She despised him for being a hindrance, and he hated her for causing him to lose his sister. I heard you guys arguing the moment I came over. What are you guys arguing about? Xiao Nua is going to have his exam soon. Are you guys going to let him study in peace? Don't tell me. Sean lent money to someone again? A gray-haired, stern-looking old lady walked over. Grandma, Tang Nua called out. No, Mom, how could I? Tang Shan quickly explained. Sun Lan panicked when she saw the old lady coming over. Her mother-in-law's husband died when she was young, and she raised her son single-handedly. She had the final say in the family. She was tough and powerful, so Sun Lan was afraid of her. Then what's going on? Xiao Nua, Grandma's good grandson, come and tell Grandma. The old lady looked at Tang Nua with an unusually kind expression. Tang Nua's eyes lit up as if he had seen his savior. He immediately walked to the old lady and told her everything. The young man massaged the old lady's shoulders and said indignantly, Grandma, because of such a ridiculous reason, my parents want me to change my major and not let me go to the capital. Grandma, you know, I've liked the capital since I was young. I even promised to take you to the capital to play. The old lady was furious when she heard this. Nonsense. Who dares to make my good grandson change his major? Who did she think she was to change such an important matter just like that? A little hussy actually dares to meddle in our Tang family's affairs. Sun Lan secretly nudged her husband. Tang Shan had no choice but to say, Mom, your words are too harsh. She's my daughter, your granddaughter, bullshit granddaughter. She hasn't eaten a single grain of rice from the Tang family. What kind of granddaughter is she? Since I gave it to someone else, then it belongs to someone else. I don't want to take advantage of her at all, and she shouldn't even think about interfering with our Tang family's matters, especially about Xiao Nua. The old lady's voice was like a great bell. Nothing is more important than my good grandson. If I hear you urging Ashan to let Xiao Nua change her major again, you'll go back to your Sun family. Sun Lan didn't dare to speak, and Tang Shan didn't say anything either. Actually, how could they be willing to let their son suffer? It was just that they couldn't help but miss this daughter who had never grown up by their side. In the end, because of the old lady's intervention, the two of them finally gave up on the idea. Chapter 1496. After filming in the nearby film city, Ningxi followed the crew of Ninth Heaven to more than a dozen locations across the country for filming. Time flew by, and finally, they could go back to the capital after today's filming. After a few more scenes, Ninth Heaven would be finished. Coincidentally, today's filming location was in Sea City, and even more coincidentally, it was in the wheat field in Spring Breeze Town. In Heroes with the Wind, there was a scene where Mai Lang rolled in the sheets, and the last time she forced herself on her sweetheart in the car, it was also here. Too bad they didn't do it back then. Kumingyu didn't have any scenes recently, so she hadn't seen Lu Tingxiao for a long time. Ningxi wanted to go home to see Big Bun and Little Bun, but she was in Sea City right now, and she had promised Tang Nuo that she would come over for dinner, so she didn't have to go back and forth. She might as well take this opportunity to go to the Tang family's house. She had just contacted Tang Nuo when Lu Tingxiao called. "Hello, you're coming back today?" "Yeah." I suddenly remembered that I promised Xianxia I would come back for dinner. I'm in Sea City today, so I'm going to head over for dinner after work, so I'll probably be back late. Ningxi said. "Don't rush back if it's too late. You can come back tomorrow." "Yeah, got it. The meeting is about to start. I'm hanging up." "Okay, go do what you need to do. I'm about to start work too." Ningxi was a little disappointed after she hung up. She hadn't seen her sweetheart for so long. Didn't she miss her at all? She even told her not to rush back tomorrow. Dusk fell. Today's filming was finally done. Ningxi said goodbye to the crew, then told Xiao Tao that she was going to visit a relative nearby, and then drove to the Tang family's house. There was a stretch of road to the Tang family's house that cars couldn't drive in, so Ningxi parked her car at the intersection and prepared to walk there. As soon as she got out of the car, she saw the familiar figure of the young man. "Sis!" Tang Nuo seemed to be stunned for a moment after seeing her, then revealed a joyful expression. Ningxi didn't disguise herself as a country girl like last time. This time, she was her original appearance. After finishing work, she directly removed her makeup and changed into her usual clothes. Although she didn't put any makeup on her face, her skin was so fair that it could be broken by the wind. Her facial features were exquisite and beautiful. Her seaweed-like, slightly curly long hair matched with a light green long dress made her look fresh and stunning. "Xiao Nuo, why are you here? I'll pick you up," the young man said in a matter-of-fact tone, then looked at her a few times with sparkling eyes. "Sis, the internet says that you're super good-looking. I didn't believe it at first. I thought they were photoshopped." Ningxi was speechless. "Damn. Big sister's goods are all genuine, okay? Are you my biological brother?" Ningxi just blurted out this sentence out of habit. She didn't realize it until she said it. For a moment, the sister and brother were inexplicably embarrassed. She hurriedly changed the subject. "Come on, don't keep your parents waiting." "Okay." Mom went out to buy groceries early in the morning when she knew you were coming, and Dad went fishing. They were so fresh. Tang Nuo began to chat with Ningxi. "Oh, I almost forgot to praise you. You scored so high. You'll definitely get into Imperial City University. My brother is really awesome. Did you get the college entrance examination notice? Hurry up and take a photo for me to show off." Tang Nuo scratched his head in embarrassment. "Not yet. I'm waiting." Chapter 1497. They arrived at the Tang family's house. Sure enough, Sun Lan had prepared a table full of dishes. Tang Shan had been waiting at the door for a long time and immediately welcomed them in. Compared with the awkwardness last time, the atmosphere was much better this time. Although they were distant and polite, at least there was no awkward silence. "Xiaoxi, come in, come in. I'm so sorry that I let you go without a meal last time." "It's nothing. It's nothing. Do you need help?" "No need. Just wait for the meal. I have a bowl of soup here. Dinner will be ready soon." A moment later, the family of four sat around the table. Sun Lan looked at Ningxi and looked embarrassed. A girl really changes 18 times between childhood and womanhood. "I almost couldn't recognize you." Tang Shan also nodded with a sigh. "Xiaoxi has become more beautiful. They didn't notice anything special about her last time, but now they deeply felt the change of their former daughter. Both her appearance and temperament were so strange. They were afraid that it would be awkward to talk about other topics, so they gradually talked about Tang Nua. Sun Lan and Tang Shan were very happy when they heard that Tang Nua had been admitted to a good university. This child has always wanted to be admitted to a university in the capital. Finally, his wish is fulfilled. A boy should go to a big city to have a look, Xianxia said. Tang Shan nodded. Yes, that's right. Seeing their son did so well, Sun Lan and Tang Shan were very glad that they had made the decision. If Xiao Nua had changed his major, he would have been held up. But the notice hasn't been sent. It's so worrying, Tang Shan said with a frown. What's the hurry? Can the notice still be sent? Sun Lan said angrily. As they were talking, Tang Nua's grandmother hurried over. When they saw the newcomer, they quickly stood up. Grandma, Mom, why are you here so late? The old lady ran a small restaurant in the town and usually lived in the restaurant. The old lady glanced at the person in the room. This is Grandma. She is my sister Tang Shi. Tang Nua quickly grabbed Xi's arm. Tang Shi, why is she back? The old lady was surprised, but she didn't have time to explain. She hurriedly took out a big envelope from her pocket and said to Tang Nua excitedly, Xiao Nua, your admission notice is here. What? Letter of acceptance. For a moment, all eyes fell on the envelope in the old lady's hand. I can't rest. I have to go to the courier station every now and then to see if there's any letter from our Xiao Nua. Look, it's finally here. Quickly open it and read it to me. Old Madam I said happily. Tang Nua excitedly took the envelope, took a deep breath, and then opened the envelope. Sun Lan and Tang Shan excitedly surrounded him. Xianxia looked at the happy family of four and felt happy for Tang Nua. The next second, for some reason, Tang Nua's expression suddenly changed. It was indeed an acceptance letter inside, but it was not an acceptance letter from Imperial Capital University at all. Instead, it was a university in Xizang that was tens of thousands of miles away from Sea City and the Imperial Capital. How could this be? This Xizang Technical College. I didn't even apply for this school. Why did I receive an acceptance letter from this school? Chapter 1498. What? Xizang. Sun Lan was dumbfounded. She was illiterate, so she could only urge her husband to find out what was going on. Tang Shan took the admission notice and looked at it. How could this be? Why is it not Capital University, but Xizang College? Did it send to the wrong address? But Xiao Nua's name is written on it. Although Sun Lan was illiterate, she could still recognize her son's name, Tang Nua. Old Madame Tang did not expect that her joyful visit would turn out like this. She anxiously pulled Tang Nua and asked, Xiao Nua, did you accidentally fill in the wrong application? Impossible. I definitely did not fill in any school in Xizang, and I checked it many times in advance. There's no mistake, Tang Nua said confidently. Then what's going on? Is it because there's someone with the same name, and this Xizang school made a mistake? Mrs. Tang guessed. Tang Shan shook his head. It's unlikely that the school made a mistake. If Xiao Nua did not fill in this school, how could this school have Xiao Nua's information? Sun Lan's face turned pale. Xiao Nua, hurry up and find out what kind of school this is. Tang Nua had already been checking. He looked up from his phone. It's a second-tier college. Because of its remote location, it has government support. You can get in with just over 300 points, second. Xiao Nua's score is for the Key High School. How could it become such a lousy school? It's so far away, and it takes 2 days and 2 nights by train. I heard that place is chaotic and the security is bad. How could Xiao Nua go to school there? What should we do? Sun Lan was so anxious that she started crying. Tang Shan panicked. Why don't we wait a little longer? Maybe we'll get an admission letter from Capital University in a few days? Sun Lan said angrily. The teacher said it's impossible. How could she be accepted by 2 schools at the same time? If she's really accepted by this school, she can't go to Capital University. What a sin. Why is my Xiao Nua so unfortunate? Stop crying. What's the use of crying? Mrs. Tang was even angrier when she saw Sun Lan like this. At this time, Ning Shi, who had been silent, couldn't help saying, "It's too late now. We can't contact them. Let's call the relevant schools and departments tomorrow." Hearing Ning Shi's words, Sun Lan nodded repeatedly. Yes, 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 let's call them and ask them. There must be a mistake somewhere. Tang Nuo held the notice tightly and did not speak. Tang Shan drooped his head. That's the only way. Old Madame Tang glanced at Ning Shi and didn't refute. That night, the Tang family discussed the issue of Tang Nuo for a long time, but there was no conclusion. Sister, it's too late now. It's not safe for you to drive back. Why don't you stay here for the night? Tang Nuo cheered himself up and said to Ning Shi. Ning Shi thought about it and finally nodded. Okay. Originally, she was going to rush back to the capital tonight, but now that Tang Nuo had such an accident, she was really worried. So she agreed to stay, and then sent a text message to Lu Tingxiao to explain the situation. Chapter 1499. Sister, you can sleep in my room. I've just washed and dried the bedsheets. Tang Nuo said. After receiving Ning Shi's call in the morning, he washed the bedsheets himself, thinking that she could stay there for one night if it was too late. Ning Shi used to sleep in a small woodshed. She hadn't been there for many years, so she couldn't live in that room anymore. Where will you sleep? Ning Shi asked. I'll sleep on the floor in the living room, Tang Nuo said casually. At this time, Mrs. Tang, who was talking to her son and daughter-in-law, changed her face. How can you do that? What if you catch a cold? Grandma, I'm a man. It doesn't matter if I sleep on the floor. I can't let a girl sleep on the floor, can I? No, you're so weak. The floor is wet and damp. How can you sleep on it? Mrs. Tang insisted and looked at Ning Shi as if she had murdered her own grandson. Ahem. Ning Shi coughed. Xianxia, don't bother. I'll just stay in a nearby hotel for the night. That's even worse. The conditions there are poor and the environment is messy. Tang Nuo frowned, looked at the stubborn old lady Tang, and then at Ning Shi, and finally said, It's better to stay at home. Sis, you can sleep in the living room. I'll make a thick bed for you. Okay. Looking at Tang Nuo's eyes, Ning Shi had to nod. Mrs. Tang didn't say anything and pulled her son and daughter-in-law aside. I haven't asked you yet. Why did this wicked girl come here today? Tang Shan coughed. Ahem. Mom, she's a rich girl now. She's not your granddaughter. She ate so much rice for nothing, but it turned out to be someone else's. I told you to throw her away, but you didn't listen. Look at it now. You've raised your daughter for so many years for nothing. Old Madame Tang's face was filled with pain. Tang Shan hurriedly pulled his mother away and said in a low voice, Mom, don't say any more. If we throw her away and she comes looking for us, we'll be in real trouble. As they talked, Tang Shan and Sun Lan saw the old lady off and went into the bedroom. Tang Nuo buried his head and began to make a mattress in the living room. Done. Thank you. Ning Shi was about to lie down, but was pulled up by Tang Nuo. What are you doing, sister? You really know how to sleep here. I was just bluffing. How could a man like me really let a girl sleep on the floor? Hurry up and sleep in a room. Ning Shi was stunned when she heard that. She seemed to recall something, and her eyes reddened slightly. The next second, she took a step forward and pulled the youth in her arms, not letting him see her moist eyes. Damn child, Tang Nuo scratched his head innocently. This is what's wrong. Ever since he was young, this child had always been like this, always protecting her. Ning Shi adjusted her mood and released Tang Nuo. I'm fine. Sis, hurry up and go to sleep. You'll get dark circles under your eyes if you stay up late. All right, I won't argue with a man like you. All right, don't worry too much about the admission letter. It'll be fine. Ning Shi comforted him. At the mention of this, Tang Nuo's face darkened. He smiled bitterly. How can I not worry? I've been looking forward to it for so many years. I worked so hard. Actually, sis, I'm about to die of sadness. I'm so scared. What if I really can't get into Imperial University? Ning Shi smiled and ruffled the youth's hair. Don't worry. Sis promises that you'll be able to get in. Chapter 1500. The next morning, old lady Tang rushed over to urge her son and daughter-in-law to make a phone call. Of course, no one picked up the phone because it was still early. Old lady Tang, Tang Shan, and son Lan all looked haggard. It was obvious that they hadn't slept all night. As for Tang Nuo, she didn't know if it was because of Ning Shilin's comforting words before going to bed, but he fell asleep. Finally, it was time to go to work. Tang Shan immediately began to call the phone number of the Shijiang Technical College. Because he was too nervous, he stuttered and couldn't speak clearly. Finally, Tang Nuo took the phone and asked the other side, and turned on the speaker. Hello, is this the admissions office of Shijiang Technical College? I'm Tang Nuo, a senior in Sea City's Yulin Middle School. I received the admission notice from your school yesterday, but I didn't fill in your application. I want to ask your school to check if there's a mistake. You received the admission notice? Yes. Since you received the admission notice, you are accepted by our school. Wouldn't go wrong. But my application didn't, then you must have filled in the wrong application. You should go to the relevant department in your city or county or ask your teacher. I'm going to ask. If it's confirmed that your school didn't make a mistake, go check your application first. Call me if it's correct. The other side hung up the phone. What's with the teacher's attitude? How can he make excuses when it concerns Xianhua's life? How can he help me check? Old lady Tang was angry. Forget it. I guess he's busy. Xianhua, you should call the admissions office and check it. Tang Shan said. Tang Nuo frowned and had to call the admissions office. He was very sure that he didn't fill in the wrong application. But since Shijiang said so, he had to confirm it again. They went through a lot of twists and turns to check the application form. Finally, in the afternoon, the admissions office called back. The final result made everyone despair. That's right, your first choice is indeed Shijiang Technical College. That's impossible. I didn't fill in this school. I filled in Capital University. Tang Nuo said excitedly. Teacher, can't you change it? Sun Lan asked cautiously. If every student was like you guys and didn't choose a good university, they could just say that they didn't apply for this school and I would change it for them. Do you think that's possible? My teacher can prove it. Tang Nuo immediately said. The staff member sneered. Who knows if you guys are in cahoots? Let me tell you, I've seen a lot of people like you. You're already the third one today. I really didn't fill in wrongly. All right, stop pestering me. Now, you can either go to this school in the Western Frontier or repeat for a year. The person on the other end of the line hung up the phone. The room was dead silent. Tang Nuo's eyes were red as he clenched his fists tightly. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I didn't fill it in wrongly. At this moment, she muttered to herself. Was it changed by someone? She naturally believed that Tang Nuo wouldn't make such a low-level mistake. More importantly, Tang Nuo didn't even know about this academy beforehand, nor did he consider it as a candidate. How could he magically fill in the wrong information? Chapter 1501. What? What should we do? Sun Lan sobbed, completely at a loss. Old Madame Tang panicked. Could it really have been changed by someone? Who the hell is it? Tang Shan said. Can't the teacher testify? Sun Lan said he can't. Besides, we don't know if the teacher made a mistake. Who knows if the teacher will testify in order to avoid responsibility? As soon as she said that, their faces were filled with despair. Tang Nuo looked dazed and then picked up the phone again. He called the county's education bureau, the examination center, the school, and all the other places, but all he got was a standard answer. If the file was really from Shijiang, then he had no choice but to go to Shijiang. Is there really no other way? Sun Lan was in a trance. Tang Shan squatted there smoking. We have no power. What else can we do? We can only accept it. Mrs. Tang panted with anger. No way. This isn't over. I'll get justice for Xiao Nu, even if I have to. I'll sleep in front of the admissions office every day. I don't believe no one will take care of this. Tang Shan said helplessly, Mom, you're already so old. Don't make a fuss. Old Nyo's family from the neighboring village has been arguing about his son for 3 years without any results. A few days ago, someone even broke his leg. We don't have any power. Who would listen to you? Tang Nuo looked defeated. Grandma, don't be impulsive. Forget it. I'll just take the exam again. Ningxi was in an awkward position and couldn't intervene in the Tang family's affairs. But she had to say something. I'll make a phone call and see if I can find someone to help. As soon as she said that, everyone in the Tang family turned to look at her. Xiaoxi, can you find someone to help? Sun Lan asked, suppressing her excitement. Tang Shan also looked at her. Ningxi thought about her words. It shouldn't be a big problem. Don't worry. Mrs. Tang snorted and said grumpily, You talk big. You're just an actress. What can you do? Tang Nuo thought of something and looked uneasy. He pulled Ningxi aside and said, Sister, I'm fine. Don't bother others for me. He knew that she didn't have a good relationship with the Ning family. She was what she was today because of him. He didn't want her to beg others for his sake. Ningxi smiled carelessly. What trouble? I'm looking for your brother-in-law. Brother-in-law? I have a brother-in-law? Tang Nuo was stunned. I'll tell you later. I'll make the call first. Ningxi patted Tang Nuo's shoulder and went to the back of the house to make the call. Hello. The man's reassuring voice came from the other end of the phone. Hey, sweetheart. I might need your help with something. It's the thing I mentioned to you last night. About your brother's admission letter? Yes, Xiao Nuo's application might have been tampered with. Okay, I got it. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. The reply on the other end of the phone was simple and clear. When Ningxi came back from the call, Sun Lan immediately went up to her. Xiaoxi, have you called? What did they say? He said he would give me an answer as soon as possible, Ningxi replied. Chapter 1502. Hearing this ambiguous response, Sun Lan and Tang Shan were a little disappointed. Old Lady Tang was busy making phone calls to see if she could help. By the way, Xiaoxi, who is your boyfriend? Is he reliable? Tang Shan asked. Well, my boyfriend. She didn't hide it. Sun Lan was a little surprised. Oh, Xiaoxi, you have a boyfriend? What does he do? She said, he's a businessman. Old Lady Tang, who had just finished the phone call, looked at her with disdain. What could a businessman do? If you want to look for someone, you should look for an official. Don't waste time and affect Xianxia. She didn't refute Old Lady Tang's words, but just listened quietly. The Tang family didn't have much hope for Ningxi's call, so they were busy trying to figure out a way to solve the problem. Tang Nuo was very interested in this brother-in-law he hadn't met yet and asked Ningxi many questions. Sister, do you really have a boyfriend? Why would I lie to you? Is he handsome? Is he more handsome than Brother Sua? No, more handsome than Suzaji? Of course, he's more handsome than him. It was dusk and the sky was getting darker. The Tang family didn't know what to do, and there was still no news from Ningxi. Xiaoxi, did your boyfriend reply to you? Sun Lan had no choice but to pin her last hope on Ningxi. She shook her head. Not yet. Although there was no news from Lu Tingxiao, Ningxi wasn't in a hurry and didn't call him. She wouldn't doubt her sweetheart's ability. Oh, Sun Lan was disappointed. Finally, it was completely dark. Tang Shan couldn't sit still anymore. Xiaoxi, still no news? Why don't you call and ask? Why? Do you really count on her? She's just an actress. Old Lady Tang was so worried about her grandson that she was angry and her tone was getting worse and worse. She didn't care which family she was from. In her eyes, she was just an ungrateful wretch who had eaten the Tang family's rice for so many years. Therefore, she said that her daughter was just a waste of money. There was no use in raising her, and she was an eyesore. Knock, knock, knock. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. It sounded unusually clear in the dead silence of the house. It's so late. Who is it? Sun Lan craned her neck to take a look. I'll go get it, Tang Nuo said as he walked toward the door. The door was pulled open with a squeak. In the next second, Tang Nuo froze on the spot and stared blankly at the tall figure standing in front of the door. The man was dressed in a tailored iron-gray suit and a dark striped tie. He stood at the door with his back to the night sky, making people feel that the small and dim house had suddenly become bright. Tang Nuo's mind was immediately filled with the words, Your presence brings light to my humble dwelling. You are. Tang Nuo stared blankly at the handsome and noble man in front of him. Not knowing what to think, his eyes suddenly lit up. Could it be? You are my brother-in-law? Hearing the word brother-in-law, the man's cold eyes slightly moved, and he glanced at the boy. Are you Xiaoxi's younger brother, Tang Nuo? Yes, I am Tang Nuo. Tang Nuo quickly nodded. Hearing this, the man raised his hand. Tang Nuo found that the man was holding a large envelope in his hand and asked in confusion. This is? The man directly handed the envelope to his brother-in-law in front of him. A gift for our first meeting. Tang Nuo looked puzzled and subconsciously took it. He was about to politely refuse it, but after glancing at the words on the envelope, his face suddenly changed. He saw that the sender of the envelope was Capital University. He hurriedly opened the envelope and saw Capital University's admission notice. Chapter 1503. Sis. Sis, come here. Tang Nuo's excited shout came from the door. Tang Shan, Sun Lan, Mrs. Tang, and Ning Shi all walked toward the door. Then they saw a man standing at the door. Tang Nuo was holding an envelope in his hand, looking excited. Sis, look, an acceptance letter. An acceptance letter from Capital University. What? Xiao Nuo, where did you get this? Sun Lan, Tang Shan, and Mrs. Tang all crowded around him. Ning Shi was also surprised. Brother-in-law, he gave it to me just now. He said it was a gift for our first meeting. Tang Nuo held in his arms and showed it to his parents and grandma. A gift for our first meeting. Ning Shi looked at the man standing at the door, and the corner of her mouth twitched. Damn it, she knew the devil was reliable, but she didn't expect him to be this reliable. He actually gave her an acceptance letter from Capital University. How long had it been since she called him? Only half a day. Taking into account the time he took to drive here, it took him less than an hour to get this letter. She was speechless. Tang Nuo and the others were excited. Ning Shi walked up to Lu Tingxiao and couldn't help exclaiming, "You're so fast." Lu Tingxiao said, "This is the first time you've asked me for help." It was rare for his wife to need his help. Ning Shi coughed. Why do I feel that Lu Tingxiao's words are a little sad? She had never asked Lu Tingxiao for help. And this time he asked for Tang Nuo's help. Is this really an acceptance letter from Capital University? Sun Lan looked incredulous. After all, they had made countless calls and gone to countless places, but the only answer they got was that there was nothing they could do. Who would have thought that with one call from Ning Shi, the acceptance letter from Capital University would come directly to them? Xiao Nuo, did you read it clearly? Mrs. Tang was shocked and anxious. I read it word by word. There's no mistake. There's the seal of Capital University. Tang Nuo said excitedly. Xiaoxi, what's your boyfriend's name? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sun Lan asked. His surname is Ko. Out of caution, Ning Shi didn't reveal Lu Tingxiao's real information. Mr. Ko, I don't know how to thank you. Brother-in-law, how did you do it? They all said that I definitely can't change my mind. I asked a friend to help. You have a teacher to testify for you, so it shouldn't be a big problem, Lu Tingxiao explained briefly. Although it was an understatement, everyone in the Tang family knew it was not that easy. If it weren't for Cece's boyfriend, they would have suffered a great loss this time. Old Madame Tang held the acceptance letter in her hands and was overjoyed. She never expected that this girl would really be of help this time. She didn't raise her for 18 years in vain. At least she knew how to help her brother. She was so much better than that damned girl who forgot her roots and never came back once. Old Madame Tang held the acceptance letter in her hands, looking at the man this girl had found. Although she didn't know what his family background was, just based on his appearance and temperament, there was nothing to say about him. She felt that he was even more outstanding than the young master of the Su family. Chapter 1504. Old Lady Tang walked up to Lu Tingxiao and said happily, You're Mr. Ku, right? Thank you so much for taking care of Xianxia. You must be hungry after coming all the way here. You must stay for dinner. Lu Tingxiao didn't speak, but looked at Ning Shi. Tang Nuo hurriedly said to Ning Shi, Sister, it's the first time my brother-in-law comes to our house. Of course he should stay for dinner. I have a lot to talk to him about. What did they talk about when they met for the first time? Ningxi was amused to hear Tang Nuo call him brother-in-law. Okay. Thus, old Madame Tang happily went to the kitchen to cook. She even hurriedly greeted her son and daughter-in-law. Lanzi, go and kill the chickens in the yard. Shan, go and dig out that jar of good wine for me. Xiao Nuo, go and pick some vegetables from a field. The food here is very fresh. You city people can't eat it. Then she looked at Ningxi. Girl, why are you standing there like a fool? Take your boyfriend into the room and make him tea with the tea leaves in the red jar. I bought them from the town. They're dried fruits in the drawer. Take them out. Ningxi opened the red jar and made a cup of tea for Lu Tingxiao. She couldn't help but exclaim that Lu Tingxiao was so smart that even Grandma Tang, who was so difficult to get along with, was completely bought over by him at the first meeting. Thanks to you, Grandma has never been so nice to me. Lu Tingxiao touched the girl's hair and his eyes were full of heartache. Ningxi knew what he was thinking and said with a smile, It's all in the past. Your kindness to me has made up for all my faults at the dinner table. Tang Shan was drunk. Xiaoxi, I'd like to propose a toast to you. Last time those people borrowed money and didn't pay it back. It was you who helped solve it. Our Tang family owes you too much. It's our Tang family's fault. Old Tang, you're drunk. Sun Lan hurriedly stopped Tang Shan. Old Madame Tang frowned when she heard this. The matter last time was also solved by this girl. It was my sister who found a way to scare them. Otherwise, how could those hooligans return the money obediently? Tang Nuo was afraid that his grandmother would be biased against Ningxi, so he didn't tell her that Ningxi directly beat them up. Old Madame Tang remained silent and did not say anything. The anger and dissatisfaction she had with Ning, she had dissipated quite a bit. At least this girl had a conscience. She had been suppressing the anger in her heart for a long time because of the matter of the wrong daughter. Not only did she raise someone else's daughter for nothing, but she also lost her own daughter. How could there be such a thing? After Tang Nuo's matter was settled, the Tang family began to think about another important issue, Xiao Nuo's first choice in that volunteer book. How did it become that Shijiang University out of nowhere? Sun Lan said in a low voice. I'm sure I didn't fill it in wrongly. Tang Nuo said confidently. At this moment, Lu Tingxiao said, the process here isn't very standard. There are a lot of opportunities to tamper with the process from collecting the application to entering it into the system. If the other party does it secretly, they can leave no traces at all. Lu Tingxiao's eyes flickered as he spoke. He paused for a moment before continuing. You'd better think about whether you've offended someone recently. Offended someone? No. Who could we have offended? It can't be those hooligans, right? They've already left Spring Breeze Town. Tang Shan frowned. Sun Lan thought for a long time, but could not figure out who it could be. At this moment, old lady Tang suddenly stood up. I know who it is. It's that girl. It must be that wicked girl. Chapter 1505. Mom, who are you talking about? Sun Lan asked suspiciously. Old Madame Tang pointed at Sun Lan's face and said angrily, Who else? It's that good daughter of yours. She didn't want Xianxia to go to the capital and be an eyesore to her. Didn't she urge you to change Xianxia's choice? Sun Lan was stunned. She had never thought of this possibility. That's impossible. I've already explained to Xue that Xianxia will go to the capital by herself. I won't go with her, and I won't let Xianxia disturb her life. She agreed at that time and didn't say anything. Ningxi urged Sun Lan to change Xianxia's choice. Ningxi frowned. She had thought that the matter was fishy, and now it seemed that her guess was right. It was most likely Ningxi's doing. Although she had suspected it from the beginning, she had never mentioned it from the beginning to the end. If this matter were to come out of her mouth, it would be seen as sowing discord. Lu Tingxiao, who was a bystander, made the old lady immediately think of Ningxi. Old Madame Tang was completely enraged. You idiot! You believe everything she says? Who could our Tang family offend? If she had the ability, she could have secretly changed Xianxia's choice. She's now the daughter of a rich family in the capital and the young mistress of the Su family. It's easy for her to do such dirty things. Who else could it be other than her? I was too careless. I was too careless. I didn't think. I almost ruined Xianhua's future. How could this woman be so cruel and vicious? What kind of sin did our Tang family commit? Old Madame Tang slapped her thigh and cried. Tang Shan was awakened by the old lady's cry and hurriedly persuaded, Mom, calm down. There's no evidence. Xianhua is her brother after all. I don't think she will all would. You two are so stupid. Xianhua will be killed by you sooner or later. Old Madame Tang's face was full of hatred. That debt collector. She's here to harm our Tang family. She's afraid that people will find out that she's from the countryside and lose face. How could she let it go? Mom, there may be some misunderstanding. I'll call Shui Luo tomorrow and ask her. What's there to ask? Is she going to admit what she's done? Old Madame Tang glared at Sun Lan, hugged Tang Nuo, and cried again. Then she looked at Ning Shi and Lu Tingxiao as if they were her saviors. She girl, although Xiao Nuo is not your biological brother, he has been your brother for 18 years. When Xiao Nuo goes to the capital, you must help him. Tang Nuo was a little embarrassed. Grandma, I don't need my sister to help me. I can do it myself. Before Ning Shi could speak, Lu Tingxiao said, Cici has always loved her younger brother, Tang Nuo. He's not her biological younger brother, but he's closer to her than her biological younger brother. Since we've been together, she has never asked me to do anything for her. This is the first time she's asked me for help. After Tang Nuo goes to the capital, we'll take good care of him even if you don't tell us. Then Lu Tingxiao changed the subject. However, old Madame Tang, you must know that Cici is just a small actress, and I'm just a little rich. I'm lucky to know a friend who works in the education department, so I'm able to help her. So, if your powerful enemy is not reconciled and wants to do something to Tang Nuo in the future, I'm afraid there's nothing we can do. Chapter 1506. Lu Tingxiao's words were reasonable, and there was nothing wrong with them. Old Lady Tang said fiercely, Mr. Ku, you just need to take care of my Xianhua. As for that little bitch, I have my own ways to deal with her. Although Ning Shuilao was the flesh and blood of the Tang family, and Sun Lan and Tang Shan missed their daughter, in old Madame Tang's heart, nothing was more important than her grandson. So what if Ning Shuilao was her own granddaughter? Even her own son and daughter-in-law had to step aside. Old Madame Tang would never allow Ning Shuilao to harm her precious grandson. Lu Tingxiao said that on purpose because he knew this. He knew that for Ning Shi, the Tang family was her weakness. The best way to deal with Ning Shuilao was through the Tang family themselves. Because Lu Tingxiao had a meeting the next day, Ning Shi and Lu Tingxiao drove back to the capital after dinner. They didn't stay together for long after they got back. Lu Tingxiao had been very busy recently, and Ning, she was also very busy. Lin Jiji had just helped her sign an endorsement deal with a first-tier brand that several big names, including Ning Shuo, were fighting for. The script for a new movie was also being selected. Zhe Ling was preparing for this year's Lorraine Fashion Week. If all went well, it would be released next year. Everything was on the right track for Zhe Ling Ning. She didn't need to keep an eye on her as often as before, but at such a critical time, Ning she still tried to find time to go there herself. Fortunately, the shooting of 9 Firmaments was going well, and it would be finished in a few days. Lu Tingxiao's scenes had all ended. Ever since that time at the KTV, Xianxia had finally given up. Even Meng Shi, who had been causing trouble for her, had been abnormally quiet lately. It could be said that the bitterness was over and the sweetness was beginning. Her days on set were very carefree. Finally, after shooting today's scenes, Yinshun was also about to be finished. She could finally be completely free. Ningxi was drinking juice and humming a little song when she suddenly heard a faint voice. Are you in a good mood? Yinshun sat down on the luxurious massage chair next to her. As he talked to her, he played with a Swiss Army knife in his hand. The saber in his hand was flying up and down rapidly, and it was a terrifying sight to behold. Ning she frowned. The moment the saber was in the air, she grabbed it, put it back into the scabbard, and threw it to Yunxin's bodyguard. Her voice was extremely cold. Yun, are you courting death? The bodyguard hurriedly took the knife and timidly looked at his boss's reaction. Yun Shun was stunned for a moment, but there didn't seem to be any anger on his face. His bewitching eyes rippled with a bewitching smile. Darling, are you worried about me? Ning, she's face darkened. Narcissism is a disease. It has to be treated. I just feel sorry for Annie, okay? It wasn't like this guy didn't know his own situation, yet he still played with such dangerous things. With such a troublesome boss, she really felt tired for his subordinates. Yun Shun held his forehead and stared at the girl beside him without blinking. Honey, you're so cute when you say one thing, but mean another. Ning Shi, cute my ass. Cloudy depths. He looks so cute every time he talks about me. Ning Shi asked, how long have you been in the haunted house? The man chuckled. Tang Shi. Ning Shi's heart skipped a beat. This guy never called her by her name. Every time he called her darling, something bad must have happened. Chapter 1507. Ning Shi looked at him warily. What do you want? Yunxin said. Let's get back together. Ning Shi, President Yun, get ready. The next scene is about to begin. Guqixing's voice came from not far away. Ning Shi stared at Yunxin as if she had seen a ghost. Hearing Guqixing's call, she hurried to the shooting site. This was the last scene of Ning Shi in Yunxin. Speaking of which, Yunxin's plot in this scene was quite brilliant. It was definitely a super pretentious scene that could make him more daddy fans. In the scene, Yin Huang was besieged by the major immortal sections. Her life was hanging by a thread, and there was no chance for her to escape. At this time, the legendary big devil Yun Sitian, who had been in seclusion for hundreds of years and had never stepped out of the poison hall, appeared. All the elders, venerables, and masters of the major immortal palaces were like ants in front of him. Yun Sitian was invincible and saved his daughter on the spot. Whoa, I've been waiting for this scene. I'm so looking forward to it. My daddy Yun is so handsome. Many fans in the crew were excited. After this scene, Daddy Yun will be finished. I'm so sad to see him go. I can guarantee that when our show is broadcast, the ratings will be off the charts. Not to mention Brother Shi and movie Queen Ming. Each of our characters will be so brilliant, even if they are minor characters. Under the expectation of a group of fangirls, Ning Shi and Yunxin were put under pressure. Not far away, Jiang Mai held his chin unhappily. Damn it, I have no part in the sex scene with the heroine, nor the hero saving the beauty. I must be a fake male lead. Meng Shi frowned slightly when she heard this. What did he mean by no part? Wasn't she the heroine? In fact, Jiang Mai did have intimate scenes and scenes of the hero saving the beauty several times, but those scenes were with Meng Shi instead of Ning Shi. In the scene, Ning Shi was much more powerful than the male lead, so the male lead really didn't have any chance to save the beauty. All departments, get ready. 3, 2, 1, start. At Guo Qixing's order, Ning Shi immediately got into character and flew forward with a stern look. Demoness, where do you think you're going? Several cultivators chased closely behind Yun Huang. Yun Huang's body was injured, and she clutched her abdomen as she ran while struggling to avoid everyone's attacks. Finally, the Cloud Phoenix was forced into a dead end. In front of her was a cliff that was tens of thousands of feet high. There was no way out. The Cloud Phoenix retreated step by step as the group of cultivators closed in on her with covetous eyes. They formed an encirclement as they vowed to slay the demoness here and now. Kill her, this demoness slaughters the innocent, utterly devoid of conscience. She even seduced a disciple of the celestial sect without any sense of shame. Everyone has the right to punish him. Guo Qixing waved his hand nervously, signaling for the cameraman to keep up. The high-altitude camera on the steel frame gave Ning Shi a bird's-eye view. Under the sky, the girl casually wiped the blood at the corner of her mouth with the back of her hand. Her whole body was so red that it was hard to tell whether it was the color of her clothes or blood. In the face of despair, there was no panic or despair on the girl's face. Instead, she was as arrogant and reckless as ever, as if she was facing death to live. She was Yun Sitian's daughter. Even if she died, she could not show any fear in front of these people. Chapter 1508. There's no need to talk about morality with this demonic woman. Everyone, let's attack together. In an instant, everyone wielded their immortal weapons and swarmed forward. Just as the Cloud Phoenix was about to be surrounded and turned into dregs, a black figure appeared in the sky. With a wave of his sleeve, it was as if he had the power to destroy the heavens and the earth. Everyone fell to the ground in a mess as they wailed. Killed in one move, Yin Huang looked at the man who flew down from the sky. Her expression was a little dazed. Perhaps because she knew that she was finally safe, all her strength began to drain away. Just as she was about to fall, she fell into a cold and gloomy embrace. "Daddy, be good." Yun Sitian, who was dressed in black, gently placed his daughter to the side. Then he looked at the people from the immortal sex with his extremely cold eyes. He looked like a demon who had crawled out of hell. The actors and extras all looked terrified. They had been acting righteously just a moment ago, but now they were all scared. Some of them even stumbled and ran away. Guiqixing nodded as he watched. The assistant director next to him exclaimed, "This director Yun's acting is too good." His gaze, TSK, TSK, TSK. But as a father, isn't his behavior a little too ambiguous? Guiqixing shook his head and said, "No, no, no. Yin Shun handled it very well." In the movie, Yun Sitian's wife was the chief disciple of the #1 immortal sect. Because she fell in love with him, she was killed by the people from the immortal sections. Not even her corpse was left. Yun Sitian hated people from the righteous sects to the core. What happened back then was his biggest obsession and inner demon. Facing his only daughter, who looked very similar to his wife, and seeing her being surrounded by the righteous sects, it triggered his memories of his wife's death. So, his current behavior isn't too much. The assistant director nodded as he listened. The filming was still going on, but the rest was relatively simple. Yun Shun did a few cool and pretentious moves to defeat the attackers. Then, with the post-production effects, the scene would be over. Just as everything was going smoothly, the scene suddenly changed. The camera above Ning Shi's head made a frightening click sound. Then, it fell from the stand and smashed directly in Ning Shi's direction. At that moment, Ning Shi was lying on the ground with her eyes closed, pretending to be unconscious. So, she had no idea what was happening in front of her. By the time the cameraman shouted, "Get out of the way!" it was already too late. The people around them also cried out in alarm. Ning Shi. When Ning Shi opened her eyes, she only felt that a body suddenly pressed on her from the side, and then the body pressed hard in her direction and gave a muffled groan. Cloud depth. Ning Shi abruptly helped Yun Shun, who was on top of her, to block the heavy blow of the falling camera. "Oh my God! President Yun! Boss Yun! President Yun, how are you?" Everyone in the crew was in a mess. "Boss!" Yun Shun's 2 bodyguards also rushed over, their faces pale with fear. "What are you yelling about?" Yun Shun straightened up impatiently. His movements looked a little stiff. Because he was wearing black clothes, it was impossible to tell whether he was injured or not. Ning Shi immediately took off Yun Shun's dark pattern long robe and examined it carefully from top to bottom. Her expression was one of unprecedented panic. Chapter 1509. "Honey, there are so many people here. Don't you think it's inappropriate?" Hearing the man's annoying voice, Ning Shi was so angry that she almost bit her teeth into pieces. She didn't even care about the staff around her and shouted, "Are you fucking crazy? Who told you to come here?" Being scolded, the man seemed to be in a good mood. "Why are you so fierce to your savior?" Ning Shi ignored him and tore off the man's coat, revealing his white underwear. When she saw the bright red blood, Ning Shi's face suddenly changed and her hands began to tremble. "You're bleeding." Yun Shun turned his head to look at his arm and frowned. "Tut, it's so troublesome. Oh my God, President Yun Shun is injured. Quick, call an ambulance." The people around us shouted. Ning Shi forced herself to calm down, but her voice still couldn't help trembling. "No, It's too late. It's too late. Ning Xiaoxi, how are you? Are you hurt? Jiang Mai squeezed over, panting. Ning Shi immediately looked at Jiang Mai. Jiang Mai, what car did you drive here today? Jiang Mai was puzzled. My big red sports car. What's wrong with it? Ning Shi hurriedly helped Yinshin up. Take us to the hospital. Jiang Mai, Ning Shi, hurry up. Jiang Mai, oh, okay. Not far away. Meng Shi watched Yinshin risking his life to save Ning Shi. She was so jealous that her nails almost broke. Damn bitch. She actually charmed Yinshin to the point where she didn't even care about her life. She used her noble body to help that bitch block the danger. On the other side, Ning Shi quickly helped Yinshin into Jiang Mai's car and then urged Jiang Mai to go to the nearest hospital in the capital. There was a long cut on Yinshin's back near her neck by the metal piece on the camera, and blood was gurgling out. Ning Shi tore the cloth on her dress and quickly did emergency treatment. Then she pressed the wound with her hand and tied the rope to urge Jiang Mai, who was driving in the front. Jiang Mai, can you do it or not? Drive faster. If you can't, let me do it. Jiang Mai was speechless. Damn it. Who said I can't do it? I'm already fast enough. She actually said no to a man. Ning, she kept urging them. Don't worry about the red light. If there's no one, just drive over. Quick. Jiang Mai glanced at Ning Shi from the rearview mirror. He had never seen Ning Shi so nervous before. His face darkened, and he said in an unkind tone, It's just a minor injury. Do you have to be so nervous? Ning Shi snapped. Don't talk to me. Focus on driving. Jiang Mai's face was full of grievance. You were the one who had been urging me to disturb me. They were both ex-boyfriends, but wasn't the treatment a little too different? In the back seat, Yinshin quietly watched the girl frowning and sweating on her forehead and chuckled. You don't mean what you say? You said you don't care about me. Ning Shi stared at the blood flowing faster and faster between her fingers. I just don't want to owe you any more. The man's eyes dimmed slightly. He leaned against the back of the chair and muttered, Tisk, so cruel. Can't you coax me just once? Ning Shi, shut up. Cut the crap. Save some energy for me. Jiang Mai listened to the conversation between the two people in the back seat and felt more and more strange. Was Ning Shi too nervous about Yinshin? This ex-boyfriend was really the scariest. Chapter 15:10. Finally, they arrived at the hospital. Ning Shi helped Yinshin into the emergency room as fast as she could. Jiang Mai parked the car and was about to chase after them when he caught a glimpse of the back seat of his car. His eyes widened in shock. Damn it, it's just a skin wound. Why is there so much blood? It's a hemorrhage. Jiang Mai was in a daze. He had no time to think and hurried to catch up. When Jiang Mai arrived, Yinshin had already been sent to the emergency room. Ning Shi was anxiously talking to someone on the phone. Yes, the emergency room of the First People's Hospital of the capital. Hurry up. Jiang Mai saw Ning Shi's hands and clothes were covered with blood. There was a trail of bloody footprints in the corridor. Damn it. Ning Xiaoxi, what happened? Is there any other injury on this guy? He's bleeding too much. Jiang Mai asked in a daze. Ning Shi sat down slowly on the bench in the corridor and pinched her eyebrows tiredly. He has a blood coagulation disorder. Once he's injured, the bleeding can't be stopped. In addition, Ning Shi didn't mention a more difficult problem. No wonder. Jiang Mai suddenly realized why Ning Shi was so nervous. He knew a little about this disease. He had a friend in the circle who looked normal at ordinary times, but once the bleeding couldn't be stopped, it was more terrible than menstruation. Time went by. After a long time, the door of the emergency room was suddenly opened. A young nurse came out anxiously. He's bleeding too fast. It's difficult to stop it with medicine. Besides, he has Rh-negative AB blood. The blood bank of the hospital is not enough. Even if we transfer blood from other hospitals, I'm afraid the blood in the whole city can't stop him from bleeding. What? Rh-negative blood? Isn't it panda blood? Jiang Mai was dumbfounded. This guy not only had a blood coagulation disorder, but also extremely rare panda blood. Wasn't he too unlucky? What Ning Shi worried about the most finally happened. She said with a gloomy face, I have a friend who can stop bleeding with acupuncture. He's already on the way. It would take Annie at least an hour to get here from Peach Blossom Cove. Even if she arrived, the effectiveness of acupuncture to stop the bleeding would be limited. The only way was to keep him alive and buy time for his body to recover. However, his blood type was so special. Once the blood was used up before the bleeding was stopped, he would die from excessive blood loss. At the same time, Annie and Tang Yi arrived at the hospital as fast as they could. Originally, the doctor didn't allow Annie to go in, but Tang Yi said something to the doctor, and the doctor immediately let Annie and Ning. She anxiously waited outside, and her face became uglier and uglier. There were too few people with this kind of blood. There were not many people in the entire imperial capital, and there were even fewer records. What happened? Tang Yi walked to Ning, she after communicating with the doctor. The camera fell. He blocked it for me. Ning, she smiled bitterly with a pale face. That bastard. Don't you know your own body's condition? Why do you insist on showing off? Tang Yi glanced at Ning Shi and sighed softly. Even if he knew, he couldn't ignore it when he saw the person he loved was in danger. Even if he knew he would be in more danger, with a swish, the door of the emergency room was open again. The young nurse's face became even uglier as she brought bad news. The blood has been used up. The patient's blood pressure is dropping rapidly. Do you know anyone with this blood type? Ning Shi's face turned pale, and despair appeared on her face. Just then, a series of steady and powerful footsteps came from behind, accompanied by a man's deep voice. Use my blood. Ning Shi turned around and looked at the man behind her in great surprise. Lu Tingxiao. Chapter 15:11. Then hurry up and come in. The young nurse hurriedly urged him. Lu Tingxiao didn't have time to talk to Ning Shi, so he hugged her gently and comforted her. Don't worry, I'm fine. Then he followed the nurse into the emergency room. Tang Yi watched the man enter the emergency room, and a white light flashed across his glasses. Holy shit, what a coincidence. My uncle also has panda blood. Zhao Mai murmured in surprise. He really didn't know about it. Ning, she didn't know about it until now. She stared at the emergency room with a frown. She didn't expect that Lu Tingxiao would suddenly come and coincidentally have the same blood type as Yunxin. Yunxin and Lu Tingxiao entered the emergency room at the same time. Ning, she sat on the bench outside with Jiang Mai by her side, and Tang Yi was making a phone call at the end of the corridor. The atmosphere in the corridor became more and more stagnant. Time passed slowly, and it was extremely hard to bear. After a long time, the door of the emergency room was finally opened again. Ning, she stood up and greeted him. Doctor, how is he? The doctor in a white coat was sweating all over and said tiredly, he's out of danger for the time being. Then Annie also came out. The little girl was also sweating, and there were several bloodstains on her clothes. Brother Shi, don't worry. Thanks to Mr. Lu's help, Brother Shen is fine now. At this time, two nurses pushed Yunxin out of the emergency room and walked towards the ward. Seeing that Yunxin was fine, Ning Shi's tense nerves finally relaxed a little, but she immediately tensed up again. She looked inside anxiously. What about Lu Tingxiao? As soon as she said that, familiar footsteps came from inside, and Lu Tingxiao came out. Perhaps because he had drawn too much blood, the man's face looked very pale. He had taken off his coat and was only wearing a white shirt. At this moment, his sleeves were rolled up, and he was using his finger to press on the opening of the needle. Ning, she hurried to hold him. Are you okay? Do you feel dizzy? Seeing that the blood had stopped, Lu Tingxiao let go of the cotton ball and reached out to rub the girl's hair. I'm not that weak. Ning, she held Lu Tingxiao carefully and asked, How did you know what happened to me? Sure, Xiao called me. Lu Tingxiao replied. I see. Ning, she looked at Lu Tingxiao's pale face and felt distressed. I'll cook something delicious for you later. I'll make it up to you. Jiang Mai, who had been forced to work as a coolie coachman and was continuously abused, was speechless. What about me? What about me? I worked so hard to be your coachman, and the baby you just bought is now covered in blood. She treated her ex-boyfriend and current boyfriend so well. Was he a dog? Ning, she took out a bunch of car keys from her pocket. Thanks. You could drive my little wife first. I'll wash your car later. After we finish filming, I'll play games with you all night. Hearing the last sentence, Jiang finally calmed down a little, but he was still angry. Lu Tingxiao was fine, but Ningxi was so nervous about Yunshan, which made him very unhappy. This kind of mentality is like, you can't be jealous of Einstein, but you'll be jealous because the kid next door is better than you. Annie followed Yunshan into the ward while Tang Yu walked up to Lu Tingxiao. His gaze was a little ambiguous, and he seemed to be testing the waters. President Lu, thank you for your help. Lu Tingxiao said, You're welcome. Xiaoxi's business is my business. Chapter 15:12. In the ward, Yunshan hadn't been unconscious for long. He only had a superficial wound, so he would be fine as long as the bleeding was stopped. The man looked very quiet when he was unconscious. His soft silver hair covered his forehead, covering half of his eyes and eyebrows. He even looked a little fragile, which was completely different from his usual arrogant look. However, as soon as he opened his eyes, he seemed to be armed and immediately changed back to another person. A trace of vigilance subconsciously surfaced in the man's eyes. He quickly scanned the surroundings, and when his gaze landed on the girl standing by the bed, the gloominess in the bottom of his eyes retreated, replaced by his usual languid and frivolous look. Tisk, looks like he didn't die. Ningxi glared at the man. Is there anyone who mentions death in the hospital? The man looked regretful. I'm so disappointed. Ningxi was speechless. Disappointed that you didn't die? The man looked at her with a faint smile. I suddenly want to see what kind of expression you'll have after I die. Ningxi, this lunatic. Honey, I save you again. The man's eyes flashed, and he suddenly said with interest. Ning, she looked like she had been fucked. She said warily, Don't try to trick me again. God knew that she wished that she was the one who was hit. The man chuckled. I've bled so much for you. It's okay if you stay and take care of me until I recover, right? Ningxi had thought that this guy was going to make some outrageous request again. If that was the case, she would definitely reject him immediately. However, this guy suddenly became normal, and his request wasn't outrageous, so she didn't know how to reply. Honey, help me peel an apple. Ningxi hadn't even agreed yet, but someone had already started to make requests with a smile on his face. Ningxi frowned and looked at the bandage on Yunshan's shoulder and the blood all over his body. In the end, she went to the side to get an apple. Just as she was about to peel the apple, a hand suddenly reached out from behind. Lu Tingxiao had come over and naturally took the apple and fruit knife from Ningxi's hand. He said coldly, Let me do it. When Yunshan saw the person, he glanced at him with a faint smile. Lu Tingxiao's movements were quite skilled and fast. In a short while, he had finished peeling an apple. The skin of the apple was all connected together, and there was no break in the middle. It was simply a cure for obsessive-compulsive disorder. Lu Tingxiao's slender fingers passed the apple in his hand to the man on the sickbed. Then, he said expressionlessly, She owes you. I'll pay you back. Lu Tingxiao. Hearing this, Ningxi couldn't tell how she felt. On the hospital bed, the white-haired man narrowed his eyes slightly, revealing a cold glint. However, he didn't show it on his face. He glanced at the apple in Lu Tingxiao's hand and pretended to be disgusted. I only eat apples that are cut into the shape of bunnies. Ningxi, enough. Lu Tingxiao was not angry at all. He found a tray and quickly carved the apple into the shape of a rabbit. I suddenly don't feel like eating apples anymore. The man on the sickbed pursed his lips. His eyes flickered, and it was simply captivating. Help me change my clothes. Hearing this, Ningxi finally couldn't stand it anymore. She looked as if she was going to bite him to death since he dared to flirt with her. Fuck, that's enough. Chapter 15:13. Damn it, this guy didn't discriminate between men and women. Could he have taken a fancy to her sweetheart? In fact, she had suspected that he liked men for a long time. After all, before returning to China, she had always appeared in front of this guy dressed as a man. After pretending to be a man for a long time, she had almost forgotten her own gender. She remembered that when Yunshan asked her to date him, she was so shocked that she said, I'm not gay on the spot. Later, she and third senior sister Feng Xiaoxiao had discussed it many times in private, and they both suspected that he liked men. Seeing Ningxi's expression, the man on the sickbed chuckled. Don't worry, I'm not interested in men, Ning. She was still vigilant. Do you think your words are credible? Also, although you helped me this time, you were bleeding like a woman on her period and almost died. It was Lu Tingxiao who gave you a blood transfusion to save you. So we're even? When a man heard this, a thoughtful look appeared on his face. No one knew what he was thinking about, but he casually said, as the head of the Lu family and the helmsman of a Lu group, do you think the entire Lu family doesn't have any rare blood types in storage just in case? And he want to give me a blood transfusion personally? Huh. Darling, you can't even see through such a superficial trick. Has your IQ been fed to the dogs? As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Tingxiao's eyes suddenly darkened. He looked coldly at the man on the sickbed who had a provocative look on his face. At the same time, a hint of worry appeared in his eyes. After hearing Yunshin's words, she was stunned. Then, she looked at Lu Tingxiao blankly. In the next second, she threw herself into the man's arms and looked up with a touched expression. Sweetheart, thank you. She suddenly recalled what Lu Tingxiao had said to her back then. I just want to tell you that no one or anything can affect your decision. The only thing you need to consider is me. There's only one thing, and that is whether or not you like me, and he really did that. In order to not let her feel burdened, he didn't hesitate to personally give Yunshin a blood transfusion just to help her return the favor. Lu Tingxiao breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the girl with an extremely gentle gaze. There was never a need for words to explain between them. As for Yunshin, he was so angry that he almost vomited blood again when he saw the two of them hugging each other. Ahem. Tang Yi, who was at the door of the ward, spoke up in time to save his boss, who was almost angered to death. Little junior sister, you can go back now. I'll take care of things here. She scratched her head. I'm sorry. I'd better stay and help. After all, it's because of me. Tang Yi could only sigh and speak tactfully. Your presence here will cause the patient's emotions to fluctuate. Only then did she realize that she seemed to have accidentally abused a dog. Yunshin's eyes seemed to be murderous, so she quickly pulled Lu Tingxiao and ran out. Ahem. Okay then. Eldest senior brother, contact me if you need anything. Bye-bye. After Shi and Lu Tingxiao left, the man on the bed was displeased. Meddlesome. Tang Yi adjusted his glasses and didn't reply. Master is on his way. Yunshin frowned, and his expression became even worse. This is troublesome. Not long after, the sound of footsteps of about 3 to 5 people could be heard outside the ward. Then, the ward door was pushed open, and a middle-aged man in a Tang suit walked in. Chapter 1514. The man glanced at Yunshin, who was lying on the bed. His expression was extremely ugly. Nonsense. Then he looked at Tang Yi with a gloomy expression. Didn't I tell you to keep an eye on him? Tang Yi immediately admitted his mistake. It's my fault. In fact, he didn't even look at him because he knew that he wouldn't be able to keep an eye on him even if he did. What happened? He seemed to know Yunshin's temper. He took a deep breath to suppress his anger and asked in a low voice. Tang Yi briefly explained what had happened, then said, Satan's blood type is under the Lu family's control in all the black market blood banks in the imperial capital. I initially thought that they were going to take the opportunity to kill Satan. I didn't expect Lu Tingxiao to personally transfuse blood for Satan. The man on the bed snorted again when he heard this. He looked like he was disgusted by Tang Yi's blood. He changed his attitude and said, Shun, it's not that she doesn't have feelings for you, but there are too many temptations out there. Lu Tingxiao is a scheming man, so it's normal for her to be infatuated. She's a young lady after all, so she really can't resist a man like Lu Tingxiao. Then, he changed the topic. But if one day you take over everything for that person, do you think there will still be women who will follow him when he has nothing? On the contrary, if you don't fight for it, more will be taken away from you, including Tang Shi. Xiao Yi stopped there and left the ward. Before he left, he signaled Tang Yi to follow him. Tang Yi's eyes flickered, and he had no choice but to follow him. Because Tang Yi had booked the entire floor, there was no one on this floor. The corridor was cold and dead silent. As soon as they left the ward, Xiao Yi's murderous expression immediately spread. Yi, you've disappointed me. With a swoosh, Tang Yi half knelt down on one knee, lowered his head, and said, Tang Lang's skills have improved very quickly. Don't tell me that even you are no match for him. Yes, Tang Yi answered without hesitation. Xiao Yi looked down at Tang Yi. From his expression, he could tell that Tang Yi was deliberately letting him win. After a long time, Xiao Yi finally said, Fine, I'll go there myself and get rid of that bastard. Tang Yi clenched his fist by his side. Master! At this moment, a sudden sound of footsteps came from the end of the corridor. It was abnormally clear in the quiet air. After hearing the familiar footsteps, Tang Yi subconsciously raised his head, and then he saw Tang Lang. Tang Yi's expression instantly changed when he saw who it was. Xiao Yi's murderous aura surged as he glared at his former disciple. Evil creature, how dare you appear in front of me? Tang Lang's expression was as carefree as ever. He grinned and said, It's been a long time since we last met. I've specially come to greet you, Master. Xiao Yi looked at him as though he was looking at a dead man. I'll allow you to say your last words before you die. Heh. Tang Lang chuckled softly. He raised his head and looked at Tang Yi, who was now completely flustered. Eldest senior brother, I'm about to die. Why don't you let me see my little caca one last time? Tang Lang. The moment Tang Lang's voice fell, Xiao Yi attacked without hesitation. Looking at the two people fighting fiercely, one was the brother he had grown up with, the other was the master who had raised him and treated him like a father. Tang Yi's face was drained of all color, and his heart was dripping with blood, struggling and tearing. Chapter 15:15. Tang Yi was naturally more worried about Tang Lang. Tang Lang had almost no chance of winning against his master. Tang Lang was forced to retreat step by his master and was in danger several times. Tang Yi could no longer stand by and watch. Sure enough, Tang Lang did not even last 10 moves. Seeing that Xiao Yi was about to attack Tang Lang, Tang Yi's expression changed. Just as he was about to retaliate, Tang Lang's body moved like a fish and barely dodged the attack. Then, Tang Lang stood 3 steps away from Xiao Yi and said with a smile, Master, I'll let you have 10 moves. You have to be careful from now on. Bastard. Xiao Yi was enraged and attacked even more fiercely. However, this time, Tang Lang was not as he had been before, staying in a defensive position. Instead, he attacked fiercely. Everything about Tang Lang had been taught by Xiao Yi, so Xiao Yi knew him better than anyone else. However, Tang Lang also knew Xiao Yi quite well. Tang Yi was not lying when he said that Tang Lang's skills had improved. Moreover, in this short period of time, Tang Yi's skills had reached a level that surprised Xiao Yi. In the end, the two of them fought to a draw. After 100 moves, because Tang Lang was young, he was more energetic and gradually gained the upper hand. Finally, Tang Lang's fingers were like an eagle's claws as they went for Xiao Yi's throat. Tang Lang. Tang Yi suddenly attacked and barely managed to block Tang Lang's killer move. Xiao Yi's face was full of shock, as if he had not recovered from the fact that he had been defeated by his disciple. Seeing that Tang Yi had made his move, Tang Lang did not continue. Instead, he looked at Xiao Yi with an unprecedentedly cold gaze and said, Master, this time, I have repaid you for raising me. Next time, I will not show any mercy. With that, he turned and left. Xiao Yi's knuckles cracked. This evil creature. Evil creature. He had long known that Tang Lang was extremely talented but was too lazy. If he had even a tenth of Tang Yi's effort, it would only be a matter of time before he surpassed him. Although he had known this for a long time, Tang Lang's terrifying speed of improvement still shocked him. At the same time, This was also the reason why he was so anxious to get rid of Tang Lang as soon as possible. However, the situation was getting more and more troublesome. Tang Yi couldn't kill him, and because of Lu Tingxiao's interference, the other people he had sent to deal with him had failed time and time again. Forget it. It's just an insignificant fish. There's no rush. The most important thing now is still the Lu clan. In the president's office of Lu Enterprises, Lu Jingli immediately reported to Lu Tingxiao as soon as he found out what had happened. Brother, I've looked into it. The falling camera was an accident. Lu Tingxiao didn't let Lu Jingli leave. Instead, he said, video call. At that time, it wasn't just this camera that was accidentally dropped, so there were other cameras that recorded the whole incident. Lu Jingli must have seen it. Lu Jingli looked troubled. He coughed lightly and said, Brother, I've checked. There's no mistake. There's no need to watch the video, right? Lu Tingxiao didn't say anything. Instead, he raised his head and looked at Lu Jingli. Lu Jingli was frightened by his brother's sharp eyes that seemed to be able to see through his heart, but he still refused to hand it over. Brother, really, don't you believe in my ability? Chapter 15:16. However, the more Lu Jingli refused, the more it proved that there was a problem. After Lu Jingli refused to hand over the video again, Lu Tingxiao didn't speak again, but looked at the computer on the table again. Lu Jingli thought that he had deceived him, but he didn't expect to hear a familiar voice coming from Lu Tingxiao's computer. There's no need to talk about morality with the siren. Let's go together, the voice of the extras said. Ah, Ningxi, the voice of the crew. Yinshun, Ningxi exclaimed. Lu Jingli's eyes almost popped out, and he moved closer to Lu Tingxiao's computer screen. Sure enough, the video that was supposed to be lying in his mailbox had been played on Lu Tingxiao's computer. Fuck, brother, how dare you hack my computer? How can you do this? Lu Tingxiao glanced at him lightly, as if saying, Do I need to hack your computer to deal with you? Therefore, in the next second, Lu Jingli saw clearly that his brother had logged into his mailbox openly. What the fuck? Brother, how did you know my mailbox password? The video on the computer was still playing, and at this moment, Lu Jingli finally couldn't stop it. Then he watched his brother see little Cece's extremely nervous attitude towards Yunshun in the video. Ahem, brother, it's actually nothing. After all, that guy was injured because of little Cece. It's normal for little Cece to be nervous. Lu Jingli's comforting words were a bit embarrassing. Since it's nothing, why were you so nervous just now? Why didn't you show it to your brother? Lu Tingxiao looked at the picture in the video quietly, his expression unfathomable, not revealing his master's emotions at all. She was nervous because things started because of her, because of Yunxin's illness and rare blood type, and because he was the person who accompanied her in her darkest time. Even if he gave her darkness, he let her live. She was nervous because Yunxin was nervous. Although he met her before he went to Yunxin, he missed the most important time of her life. Even if there were many reasons, he had to admit that the man's position in her heart was irreplaceable. After she left the hospital, she began to meaningfully reply to the phone calls from all parties. Because of this accident, the whole crew was in an uproar. Guoqixing and the producer were almost crazy. After receiving Ningxi's call and knowing that Yunxin was fine, they were finally relieved. Then she went to discuss with the crew how to solve some follow-up problems. Because the situation was urgent at that time, when she and Jiang Mai sent Yunxin to the hospital, some passers-by took photos and posted them on the internet. However, as long as Yunxin was fine, this wasn't a big problem. The crew could deal with it. The next day, she went to the crew as usual. Because yesterday's accident happened the moment they finished filming, the last scene in Deep Clouds had already passed, so there was no need to reshoot. For the next few days, most of the scenes were with her and Meng Shi. In the end, she waited from morning until noon. Finally, she was told that Meng Shi had something to do and wouldn't be coming for the next few days. Guoqixing had originally planned to finish filming the last few scenes in one go, but he didn't think that Meng Shi would drop the ball at this time. He could only helplessly call a halt and let everyone go back to rest. Ning, she held the car key in one hand and walked to the underground parking lot. After a moment of hesitation, she decided to go to the hospital to see that guy first, and then to Ling. At night, she would go to Lu Tingxiao's place to make more supplements for Lu Tingxiao. Don't move. Ning, she was planning what she was going to do today when she heard a hoarse and gloomy warning. At the same time, a cold and hard tube-shaped object suddenly pressed against her waist. Chapter 15-17. She couldn't be more familiar with this feeling. Turn around and put your hands up, the man scolded coldly. Ning, she raised her hand cooperatively and looked behind her. She saw a big, fierce-looking man in a black singlet pointing a gun at her fiercely. There was another person next to him who was also pointing a gun at her warily. He lowered his voice and urged, "Get in." Ning, she glanced at the white van next to her. There were two more people in the van, and both of them had guns in their hands. They were definitely not ordinary kidnappers. After considering the situation, Ning, she knew that she definitely couldn't escape. She obediently cooperated and waited for the opportunity to escape. Under the forceful push, Ning, she's pink crystal hair clip accidentally fell to the ground. It was a gift from Xiaobao on her birthday. Ning, she's gaze tightened. She was about to turn around to pick it up when the fierce-looking man stepped on it, and the hair clip instantly shattered. "What are you waiting for? Do you want to die?" The fierce-looking man pushed Ning, she into the van like a sack. Ning, she took a deep breath and hid the murderous intent in her eyes. As soon as she got in the van, she was immediately tied up. However, they didn't blindfold her. This made Ning, she frowned slightly. If they didn't blindfold her, didn't that mean they wouldn't leave anyone alive? "Who are you?" Ning, she quietly sized up the four people in the van and probed. The driver who was driving had a knife scar across his entire face. The blonde in the front passenger seat had a cigarette in his mouth. On her left was the fierce-looking man, and on her right was a tall and skinny man. Ning, she took a quick look at these people. They were all well-built and looked like they had been training for a long time. However, they weren't mercenaries at Feng Xiaoxiao's level, so she could eliminate the possibility that they were Feng Jin's men. Of course, these people were definitely not ordinary kidnappers or hooligans. They were probably gangsters with a strong background, people who want your life. The fierce-looking man played with the gun in his hand and said with a sinister expression. The blonde in the front passenger seat rubbed his hands excitedly and turned his head. "Let me have a good time before you die." The fierce-looking man glared at the blonde. "It's only your turn if the boss doesn't want it. Such a high-quality product. How could the boss not want it? Don't talk nonsense. I haven't even said anything yet. Why are you so anxious?" Yes. I'll just follow your bosses and pick up some scraps." The yellow hair chuckled as he stared at Ning Shi. The woman in the back seat had skin as white as snow. She had an exquisite little face that was breathtakingly beautiful. She was wearing a light pink dress that made her look extremely fresh and lovely. TSK? It's no wonder our first miss wants to get rid of such a vixen. Blondie muttered. Hearing this, Ning Shi finally knew who this person was. Meng Shi? Seeing that Ning, she seemed to have guessed it. The ferocious man didn't care at all. She was going to die anyway, so it didn't matter whether she knew or not. Those people were quite vigilant. Perhaps they knew that she had some skills. Even in the car, they did not forget to point their guns at her. Along the way, Ning, she was very peaceful, leisurely closing her eyes to rest. She was quite curious, this Meng Shi's legendary background. What was it? The car swayed for a long time before it finally stopped. Chapter 15-18. The door opened, and Ning, she was pushed out. What came into view was a building that looked like a Taoist hall. In front of the door was a large flag with the word Qing on it. Ning, she raised her eyebrows slightly. TSK, Qing Xingang? So that's it. This Meng Shi actually had the Qing Xingang behind her. That blondie called her Miss just now. Was she the daughter of Meng Jinhuan, the leader of the Qing Xingang? No wonder they were so unscrupulous. They dared to send people to kidnap her in broad daylight, and even wanted to kill her. There were countless gangs in the Hua Nation. Apart from the Black Tiger Gang in Province D, the most famous and powerful gang was the Xianxia gang. It didn't have the most members, but it was the most influential. After all, it controlled the underground world of the capital and the surrounding provinces and cities. She thought to herself as she followed them through the training hall and into the depths. Probably because they had reached their base camp, they were obviously much more relaxed. They must have thought that she wouldn't be able to escape here, even if she had wings. She looked around. This place wasn't too big, and the people were scattered. It should be just a small branch. Of course, for Mengshi, it was more than enough to send a small leader to kill a person. Boss, the person Miss wants is here. The fat man forcefully pulled she in front of person. In the middle of the hall, there was a large mahogany chair. The chair was covered with a piece of good quality tiger skin. A man with a stocky back and a bear's waist was sitting on the chair, hugging women on his left and right. Seeing that she had been brought over, the man pushed aside two sexy beauties in revealing clothes and walked up to she with interest. You're the one who doesn't want to live. How dare you mess with our miss? She didn't say anything. She shrunk back and pretended to be scared. In fact, she was looking around quickly, when her eyes fell on an object in a metal box not far away. Shi's eyes lit up. She seemed to have found something fun. I'm asking you a question. Aren't you supposed to be quite capable? Why are you mute now? The branch boss looked at the girl's weak and trembling appearance, and his eyes shone with a lascivious light. He barely restrained himself and asked his subordinate, "What did eldest miss say?" The ferocious-looking man walked up to them and sneered. "Young mistress wants us to shoot a few exciting films for her, and then she'll let us play with her until she dies." "Ha! Just what I wanted." The boss immediately laughed out loud. He was probably used to doing this kind of thing. Soon, someone actually moved the filming equipment over. "Boss, you first. You first. Let us all learn from your majesty." Blondie eagerly flattered. Because Ningxi seemed to be completely softened, no one around her guarded against her. Only the boss took off his shirt and couldn't wait to walk towards her now. When everyone let down their guard, she dared to break the hair-clipped xiaobao gave her. "You want to play? I'll play you to death." The moment the man pounced on her, Ningxi put her hand behind his waist and felt his gun. Then she quickly pressed it against the man's forehead. Before anyone could react, she pulled him to the metal box she had noticed just now. She took out a miniature instrument from the box and stuffed it into his mouth, forcing him to swallow it. Chapter 15:19. In the blink of an eye, all of this happened in just 3 seconds. The blonde who kept sucking up to her, the tall and skinny guy who was filming with his phone, and the ferocious man with gleaming eyes, all the subordinates who were holding the equipment, were all stunned like stones. After she stuffed the miniature device into the man's stomach. She ignored him and pushed him away like she was throwing away rubbish. Then, she walked slowly to the tiger leather chair that the tattooed boss was sitting on. She crossed her legs casually and lazily swept her eyes across everyone below. "Fuck, this bitch. Catch her." At this time, the subordinates who were in a daze finally came back to their senses and ran towards her, clamoring. She leisurely watched them pounce on her. Amidst the roars of the crowd, she raised her fair hand and pinched a bright red switch-like device between her fingertips. "All of you come back, come back." Behind her, the tattooed boss howled at the top of his lungs. Then, he threw himself at Shi's feet. Don't touch it. It's dangerous, dangerous." The boss cried as he dug his throat, trying to spit out what he had swallowed. Unfortunately, once the device entered his stomach, it was as if it had taken root inside. He could not get it out no matter how hard he tried. At this time, when the others saw the switch in Shi's hand, they were all horrified and subconsciously took a step back. What the man had swallowed was a miniature bomb. After entering his stomach, it would automatically adhere to the stomach wall. Although it was small in size, as long as the switch was pressed, it was enough to blow a person into pieces. And now, the button that controlled his life and death was held in the hands of the woman in front of him. The woman was wearing a cute and pretty pink dress. She was clearly the same person, but at this moment, she gave off a completely different feeling. Her expression was not scary, and even the corners of her mouth curled up with a faint smile, but it made him feel as if he had seen a demon. Also, the entire process from her snatching the gun to forcing him to swallow the bomb. Although he was only a branch leader, he still had some eyesight. Her skills were not that of an ordinary person. Even if she had done some martial arts before and had some foundation, it was absolutely impossible for her to do this, especially the way this woman held the gun. One look, and he knew that she was an expert, and she actually knew this new type of firearm like the back of her hand. How would an ordinary person know that it was a bomb? Damn it, who exactly did they offend? The boss had no time to think. He stared at the detonator in the woman's hand and begged for mercy without caring about his image. Big sister, Ning, she narrowed her eyes. Huh? What did you call me? Big? No. Great aunt. I had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I beg you to be merciful. You really can't play with that thing. Ning, she rolled her eyes and kicked away a yellow-haired man who tried to steal the button in her hand. Hey, boss, it seems that someone wants you to die early. Bastard, you're courting death. Nobody move. The boss roared and kicked the yellow-haired man who had been kicked by Ningxi again. Then she looked at Ningxi cautiously. Grandant, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I'll send you out now, okay? Ningxi turned the detonator in the boss's horrified eyes and chuckled. Send me out? Yes. Chapter 1520. Who said I'm leaving? The man was dumbfounded. The others also looked at each other. Then what do you want? Wait until I'm done. Ningxi looked as if she wanted to stay and settle down here, which made everyone's faces darken. Ningxi pointed at the armrest of the mahogany chair and said, Each of you, eat one. Then she added, Women don't need it. What? Everyone was shocked. The two girls who were serving the boss just now heaved a sigh of relief. That's not necessary. The tall and thin guy stepped back. The ferocious guy coughed. This is our boss. His life is in your hands. How dare we touch him? Ning, she curled her lips. What if one of you wants him to die and usurp the throne? The boss immediately jumped up and slapped each of them. Eat. Pa, eat all of them. I'll eat all of them. Can't you eat all of them? Huh? Hurry. Do you want a rebel? The ferocious guy said bitterly. If we eat all of them, you won't be able to tell who is who. Each bomb had a corresponding number. Ning, she could choose the number of the bomb with the detonator in her hand, but if everyone ate it, she wouldn't be able to tell which number was which. Ning, she pondered and blinked under everyone's expectant gaze. Then she said, Then I'll press the switch and everyone will detonate it together. Everyone, damn, devil. She was simply a she-devil. They were like fish on the chopping block. Ning, she held their boss's life in her hand. Everyone had no choice but to eat a bomb. Madam, are you satisfied now? The boss rubbed his hands and asked carefully. Ning, she turned the detonator in her hand with a bored expression. Boring. These three words were like a death-hastening talisman, scaring everyone to the point that their souls almost left their bodies. The boss asked, What do you like then? What do you want to play? Should I get it for you? Will you be willing to leave if you have fun? The most important thing now was to pacify this little devil. Otherwise, she would be torn to pieces on the spot. We'll see. At this moment, the blondie approached the boss and the others were discussing. I have an idea. What idea? Boss looked at him unhappily. The blondie whispered into his ear, Boss, call Huahua and ask her to send a few fresh meats over. Will this work? The boss and the muscular man looked at him doubtfully. The blondie quickly said, It might be useful. Women nowadays like this kind of thing. The boss pondered for a moment and immediately walked to a corner to make a phone call with the mentality of making a Hail Mary attempt. A moment later, a row of 10 handsome, seductive little fresh meats who had been trained to be extremely obedient stood in front of Ningxi. The boss rubbed his hands and asked nervously, "Grandaunt, do you like any of these? You can play however you like." They were all trained. They're all very good at serving people. Ning, she sat on the tiger skin chair like a mountain king. Her gaze swept across the men on the ground, and she frowned. Her taste had long been trained by Lu Tingxiao. How could she like these? Seeing Ning, she frowned. The boss broke out in a cold sweat. He quickly got his men to chase them away and then kicked the blondie. "What kind of lousy idea is this?" The blondie cried out and said with a long face, "This doesn't make sense. Even this doesn't work. This batch is already the best." Could it be that this Grandaunt doesn't like this kind of stuff? Why don't we try another woman? Chapter 1521. How about we try another woman? The moment the blonde finished his words, his boss kicked him hard. "Fuck off. Don't drag me down if you want to die." The blonde wailed and held his head. No, it's not like that, boss. It's really possible. Didn't you see that she made all of us swallow the bomb? But not those two girls. She was indifferent to so many fresh meat and even showed a look of disgust. She definitely doesn't like men." The chubby guy touched his chin. "Come on, boss, this guy seems to have a point this time." The boss gritted his teeth. "What the hell? How could such a beautiful woman like women if she didn't like men? He wouldn't believe it." "Boss, let's give it a try. We'll all die anyway." The blonde muttered. The boss didn't think it was a good idea, so he didn't use it. At this moment, the female devil was bored and looking for someone to play shooting games with. Naturally, her subordinates eagerly moved the targets over to satisfy all of her requests. Ning, she twirled the gun in her hand and glanced at the crowd with a smile. "It's boring to play like this. Let's do something. It's best of 3, and I'll let the one who beats me go." As soon as these words came out, the crowd went into an uproar. Everyone who had just found a chance of survival looked over with glowing eyes. "Really? As long as I beat you, I can go. What if you go back on your word?" Someone asked weakly. Ning, she squinted at the man. "I'm not going to do anything. Believe it or not." Everyone looked like they were about to cry. The blonde rolled his eyes and ran over. "Then I'll go first. I believe you'll keep your word." Ning, she waved her hand casually. "Go ahead." The blonde quickly took out his gun, took a deep breath, and aimed at the target. At the same time, the surrounding bosses and henchmen all looked at the blonde nervously. They all knew that the blonde was good at shooting, otherwise he wouldn't have jumped out in such a hurry. "Madam, I'll start." "Cut the crap." Yes. The blonde finally pulled the trigger and fired a shot. 92, shouted the tall, thin man who was keeping score. Bang! The second shot, 95 points. Bang! The third shot, 10 points. Oh, amazing. The onlookers cheered. "This brat is too treacherous. He actually ran away by himself and abandoned us." In the midst of the noise, bang, 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 bang sounded 3 times in succession. Ning, she shot 3 times. All 3 shots hit the bull's eye. Everyone was dumbfounded. "Go on." Ning, she said expressionlessly. "This can't be real." After a long while, someone finally spoke in a daze. Following that, because they were unwilling to give up, there were people who went to challenge him one after another. In the end, all of them were beaten to the point of pissing their pants. Finally, Ning, she ran out of patience. She said to another challenger, "Now, the loser will announce his number." As soon as these words came out, cries of distress filled the air. Mother, the she-devil was about to start a massacre. Finally, the tattooed boss could no longer sit still. If she continued to play like this, everyone would die. Chapter 1522. Madam, what do we have to do for you to leave? Name a price. Can we pay for our lives? Someone tried to sound her out. Oh, 100 million each then. Ning, she said casually. Damn, this was daylight robbery. This was too ruthless. Everyone, let's just choose death. It was really easy to invite a god in, but it was hard to send him away. They had thought of all the ways they could think of, but the other party refused to leave. The boss had no choice but to glare at the blondie beside him. I'll trust you one more time. If you fail, I won't have to wait for that ancestor above to make a move. I'll kill you myself. With that said, he dialed another number. Hello. No, I don't want a man. I want a girl this time. Nonsense. Of course I want a pretty one. Clean up, clean up. Quick. Madam, spare me. Madam, spare me. One of the underlings who failed the challenge was so scared that his legs turned to jelly and he knelt on the ground. The others were also trembling. Perhaps they would be next. Just as Xianxia was about to speak, a group of young ladies walked in. The 10 girls didn't look very old. They looked to be around 19 or 20 years old, which was the age where water could be squeezed out of them. Unlike the 2 sexy beauties from before, these girls seemed to be from good families. Their clothes were quite normal, and most importantly, each of them was more beautiful and cute than the other. At this moment, they were standing below with their heads lowered like frightened little animals. They're quite smart. Xianxia looked at the group of delightful young ladies and felt much better. She generously waved at the man who kept begging for mercy and said, "Forget it. Don't blow up and scare the girls." This meant that she was going to spare him. Happiness came too suddenly. The underlings couldn't believe it. They hurriedly thanked her profusely and ran away. As for the boss, fuck, it actually worked, and the effect was remarkable. After a while, the 10 girls, who were originally afraid, looked at Xianxia with sparkling eyes. From time to time, their cheeks would turn red and they would tremble. Some of them were even jealous of Xianxia. One by one, they would rush to pour wine and fruits for her and massage her shoulders and legs. The boss, the yellow-haired guy, bit his finger and looked at Xianxia's gentle attitude towards the girls enviously. "Oh, why am I not a girl?" Another minion muttered. "If I tell that lady that I'm actually a woman, but I changed my sex, will she believe me?" Another was even more ruthless. "Is it too late for me to castrate myself now? Losing my manhood was better than losing my life." Everyone, at this moment, Xianxia still didn't know that the outside world was about to be turned upside down. Capital First People's Hospital. Feng Xiaoxiao had an apple in her hand and was carving a rabbit on it. "Phew, it's finally done. Boss, please enjoy." Feng Xiaoxiao eagerly handed the apple over. She was always in a rush, so when had she ever done such meticulous work? It was simply asking for her life. The man on the bed kept looking at the door as if he was waiting impatiently for someone. He looked absent-minded and unhappy. When he saw the apple in Feng Xiaoxiao's hand, he commented, "Ugly." Chapter 1523. Feng Xiaoxiao was speechless. She was heartbroken. How could he say the word ugly to a girl, even if it was an apple she peeled? Fuck, I worked so hard to carve it. How is it ugly? It's so cute. Who peeled this apple? Feng Xiaoxiao saw an apple that had turned yellow from being left for too long. The carving on this apple is exquisite. Oh no, it's a work of art. But I don't see you eating it. The man looked at Feng Xiaoxiao with a frosty expression. Feng Xiaoxiao hugged the apple and took a step back, looking innocent. What did I say wrong? The door was pushed open and Tang Yu walked in. Junior's sister was kidnapped by the Qin Xian gang. Yun Shun and Feng Xiaoxiao's expressions changed at the same time. However, Feng Xiaoxiao calmed down quickly. TSK, TSK, TSK. My woman's intuition was right. I knew that Xianxia wouldn't be able to hold back. But Junior's sister will be fine. Boss, you've already spread the word on the streets. There won't be anyone who's blind enough to touch Junior's sister, unless it's those small fries who can't get in touch with the core and don't know about your band. Junior's sister can deal with those guys herself. Feng Xiaoxiao's speculation was right. Even if Xianxia was the young mistress of the Qin Xian gang, she couldn't mobilize the core departments with just a word. At most, it would be a small branch. However, the man's expression didn't relax at all. Instead, he looked extremely grim. He got off the bed and glared at Feng Xiaoxiao. Fine? Of course she would be fine if it was a year ago, but now, Lu Tingxiao has raised her into a cripple. Feng Xiaoxiao. Ugh. So what if she's raised into a cripple? How many women want to be pampered into a cripple? How unromantic. No wonder he can't find a girlfriend. TSK. You can just admit that you're worried about Junior's sister. Tang Yi frowned when he saw the man get off the bed and put on his jacket. He stood in front of the man and said, "Satan, your wound hasn't healed completely. Don't get off the bed." Feng Xiaoxiao chimed in. "That's right. I think Lu Tingxiao has already gone over. We don't have to join in the fun." Tang Yi pinched the space between his brows and looked at Feng Xiaoxiao speechlessly. Feng Xiaoxiao was confused. What did I say wrong? Because Feng Xiaoxiao had no control over her words, Tang Yi knew that it was useless no matter how much he tried to persuade her. He could only watch as Xianxia got off the bed. He gathered 20 elites and personally led them to the Imperial Suburbs branch of the Xianxia sect. Xianxia's personal team of 20 elites was more than enough to wipe out 10 branches, not to mention Tang Yi and Feng Xiaoxiao, two great killing machines. When the group of people arrived at the place where Xianxia was tied up, they bumped into Lu Tingxiao's men. Feng Xiaoxiao looked at the iceberg, then at his own boss, and clicked his tongue. This is a rare sight. This Azure Mystic sect is so proud to have 2 of them come to slaughter their sect. This should be recorded in the history of the sect. Behind Lu Tingxiao, Shi Xiao had a bitter expression on his face. Although he was Ningxi's bodyguard now, he really didn't play much of a role. In order to avoid being accused of acting arrogantly, he could only follow Ningxi closely when she participated in activities with more people. Chapter 1524. However, he couldn't follow Ningxi when she was filming. He could only guard her in the car or in the dark. Moreover, the lady boss was very powerful. He had nothing to do every day and didn't even have a chance to perform. After all, Xianxia was sent by the lady boss to protect her cousin. Just as he was feeling regretful, something really happened to the lady boss. She didn't show up for a long time after she finished work. When he realized that something was wrong, he quickly found out that the lady boss was kidnapped. He was going to rescue her by himself to make a contribution, but he didn't expect that. Boss already knew about it and went to rescue her personally. If that wasn't enough, what were those people doing? Shi Xiao felt that he couldn't just sit around and wait for death. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to make a contribution. Thus, he took the initiative and said, "Boss, I'll go check out the situation." "Wait." Lu Tingxiao stopped Shi Xiao's request and looked sharply in the direction of the training hall's entrance. At the same time, Xianxia was also staring at the tightly shut door. His cold and gloomy eyes made everyone quiet out of fear. Tang Yi frowned and said, "I'm afraid the situation has changed. Tell everyone to be careful." Feng Xiaoxiao couldn't help but be vigilant. Something's wrong indeed. Why isn't there anyone guarding the door? It's so quiet. Where are the people here? Are they sure that little junior sister has been brought here? Damn it. Could something have happened to little junior sister? How dare the Xianxia gang? In the hall deep inside the training hall, a certain boss was pouring wine for Ningxi personally. It was a fine wine that he had kept for many years and couldn't bear to waste a single drop. Money Beauty's wine. He had used all kinds of tricks, but the woman on the tiger skin chair had her legs crossed and didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. The worst thing was that apart from being gentle to the girls, this woman was cruel to the men. She had so many tricks up her sleeve that they were about to be killed by her. The ferocious man who was searching for ways to please a woman on the internet came up to his boss with a sad face. "Why isn't she leaving? How am I supposed to know?" At this moment, a lackey ran over panting and hurriedly went up to his boss. "Boss, outside. What's going on outside?" The boss scolded impatiently. "Someone's coming. A lot of people. I think they're here to save this woman." "Is that true?" The boss's eyes lit up at once, and then several backbone members of the gang were anxious. While Ningxi was being coaxed by the girl, they hurriedly and stealthily walked towards the door. At the door, when everyone was anxiously investigating the situation and discussing countermeasures due to the strange situation, creak, the door of the dojo was suddenly opened from the inside. In an instant, everyone on both sides of Lu Tingxiao and Xianxia aimed their weapons at the gate. The leader hurriedly raised his hands. Don't get excited. May I ask if you are here to save to save Miss Ning? They only dared to stand at the door and did not dare to go out, because if they went beyond a certain distance, Ning Shi's detonator would sound an alarm. If you know, then hurry up and release him. Sure Xiao shouted. When the boss heard this, he immediately knelt on the ground and cried tears of joy. That's great. That was great. You're finally here. The group of people behind the boss all had joyous expressions on their faces. Then, all of them excitedly opened the door and welcomed the people outside with joy. Please come in, please come in, please come in. Lu Ting Xiao, Yin Shun, Tang Yifeng Xiao Xiao. Why did they feel that these people were so happy? They were so happy that they could even do a folk song with a red cloth. Chapter 1525. Feng Xiaoxiao's lips twitched. Am I hallucinating? Why do I feel like these people are so happy? Could it be a new scheme that she didn't know about? The boss of the branch cried for a long time before he finally got up. He had an expectant expression on his face, as if he was afraid that they would leave. Esteemed guests, please forgive me for not being able to welcome you from afar. Please come in, please come in. What did he mean by not being able to welcome them from afar? Things were getting weirder and weirder. Of course, they wouldn't be afraid, even if they had a scheme against such a brutal team. Yinshin and Lu Tingxiao exchanged a rare glance and exchanged opinions. Then, they gave the order to enter at the same time. This way, please. The boss personally led the way with tears of excitement in his eyes. A few of the core members beside him rushed into the hall happily. Soon after, many people ran out from inside, and all of them looked at them as if they had seen angels. Their expressions were also filled with joy. Some even muttered, "Great, great. Someone's finally here to save us." Huh? What the hell? Yinshin and Lu Tingxiao walked side by side in front. Feng Xiaoxiao, Tang Yi, Shi Xiao, and a group of elites followed behind them. They walked into the innermost hall. The more illogical the situation was, the more alert they were. The instant they were a few steps away from the hall, they entered a level 1 defensive state and tensed their nerves. Then Lu Tingxiao and Yunshin saw from afar a certain someone who they had been so worried about sitting cross-legged on a large chair made of tiger skin. She was surrounded by a large group of beautiful girls. One was massaging her shoulders, one was massaging her back, one was pouring wine, one was fanning her. The rest were playing the piano and dancing. The men were performing a series of acrobatics, such as shooting apples from the top of their heads and smashing rocks from their chests. There was even someone holding a clapboard and doing crosstalk. How was this a kidnapper? This was simply a mountain king who occupied a mountain and made himself the king. Everyone at the entrance, including Lu Tingxiao and Yunshin, the boss panicked when he saw that they weren't moving. He hurriedly said, "Big bosses, please take Miss Ning away. We really didn't hurt her. She's been hurting us all along. We had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. We knew we were in the wrong. The first thing we did was to ask Miss Ning to leave, but Miss Ning refused to leave. We tried everything, but it was useless. We really had no other choice. Hurry up and take this demoness away." The others wiped their tears and echoed their boss's words. "We were just following orders to make a living, and we really didn't even touch a hair on Miss Ning. I haven't gotten married yet. I will definitely turn over a new leaf in the future." There was no need to mention how sorrowful the group of men were crying. Those who heard it were sad, and those who heard it were crying. Actually, they couldn't be blamed. Ning Shi's way of tormenting people was too cruel, especially when it came to psychological warfare. The area of their psychological trauma was already immeasurable. Feng Xiaoxiao, so pitiful. In the hall, the others also noticed the abnormality at the door and looked towards the direction of the door. Ning Shi also raised her head. Inadvertently looking up, she suddenly spat out a mouthful of wine. "Fuck me." Chapter 1526. Sweetheart, and the one surnamed Yin, why are they here? And why are they here at the same time? Also, what was the epic ranked lineup with the vast and majestic crowd behind them? Ning, she swallowed hard. She seemed to have gone too far. You're quite carefree, huh? Xianxia put on a fake smile and looked at the person who was sitting on the tiger skin chair and acting like a king. His eyes were almost murderous. Ningxi ignored Xianxia. She immediately threw the wine glass in her hand and quickly ran in Lu Tingxiao's direction. Behind him, a certain boss flew over to catch the wine glass. Ow! This glass was an antique. It was very expensive. Sweetheart, Ningxi plunged into Lu Tingxiao's arms like a swallow flying into the woods, looking as if she had been greatly wronged. Sob, sob, sob. They bullied me. With a clang, the wine glass in the boss's hand fell to the ground with a harsh sound. Not only him, but all the minions next to him looked at Ningxi as if they had seen a ghost. Damn, you can't do this. You can't be so shameless. No, we didn't. We're innocent. Sir, we're innocent. How dare we bully you? You two are wise. You must stand up for us. Suddenly, there were wails in the hall. Their expressions were much more aggrieved than Ningxi's. They probably knew that Xianxia and Lu Tingxiao were the leaders and were asking them to stand up for them. The scene was very chaotic. Xianxia, Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl in his arms helplessly. What's going on? Ningxi sobbed and looked up at him. My hair clip was broken by them. What nonsense? Xianxia looked at Ningxi clinging to Lu Tingxiao's arms and felt a little annoyed. Ningxi glared at him. You're the one who's nonsense. It's a gift from my son on my birthday. It's very important. But they trampled it to pieces. Xianxia, all the people in the hall. Damn it. Are you kidding me? She had caused them so much trouble just because she had broken her hair clip. The boss took a deep breath and looked at the men who had kidnapped Ningxi. Who? Who trampled on Miss Ning's hair clip? The yellow-haired man, the tall and skinny man, and the scarred driver all looked innocent. The fierce-looking man trembled and mumbled helplessly. I think it was me, but I was careless. Is this it? At this time, Xiao took out a broken pink hair clip from his pocket. He finally had a chance to perform, but it wasn't to charge and break through enemy lines. Instead, he accidentally picked up a hair clip. This is it. Ningxi hurriedly took it. The killing intent in her eyes began to rise again. A certain boss was afraid that this lady would flip out again, so he immediately went over and gave the fierce-looking man a good kick. Who asked you to kick me? Your feet are cheap. You don't even know how to tie someone up. Why did you step on a little girl's hair clip for no reason? Are you crazy? Ferocious man. Who's the one with the problem here? Yes. I'm crazy. It's all my fault. Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl's sad face and rubbed her hair. It's okay. It can be fixed. I'll fix it for you when we get back. Chapter 1527. She nodded obediently. Her colleagues heaved a sigh of relief. They had dodged a bullet. However, at this moment, Xianxia's voice rang in their ears. What's wrong with these women? Fuck, why did he have to mention it? Ningxi was so angry that she almost wanted to kill someone. She immediately replied, It's none of your business. My sweetheart didn't say anything. You. Tangyi coughed lightly and reminded her helplessly, He's injured. Little junior sister, please be merciful. What's wrong with these girls? This time, it was Lu Tingxiao who asked the question. It was rare for Lu Tingxiao to stand on the same side as Xianxia, which made Xianxia look at him in surprise. This time, Ningxi wouldn't be able to fool him anymore, so she replied righteously, It's all because of these guys. They're too shameless. They actually tried to bribe me with their beauty. Seeing that the men couldn't do it, they changed to another woman. Do you think I'm the kind of person who can be bribed with beauty? Of course not. I just saw that these guys were so fierce, and I was afraid that the girls would be scared by them. So I chatted with them for a while to ease their fear. All the gang members. Who the hell was this fierce and fierce? Compared to her, they were simply obedient babies. Ningxi was still talking glibly when Xianxia snorted coldly. Ease their fear? Does that include letting them sit on your lap? Ningxi. Fuck. You're slandering me. No one sat on my lap. If we didn't come, wouldn't we have sat on them? He had seen a girl secretly sticking to Ningxi. Even if you didn't come, I wouldn't have let them sit on my lap. Okay? Do you think I'm as shameless as you? Ningxi was furious. The man looked at her sarcastically. We tried everything we could to save you, but you're having fun here. Do you think you're in the right? If we had come any later, you would have gotten yourself a wife. Fuck. Lu Tingxiao sighed and interrupted their argument. Let's go. The gang members nodded their heads repeatedly. That's right, that's right. Hurry up and leave. The group of people retreated majestically, and all the gang members behind them sent them off with tears in their eyes. The only thing missing was the beating of gongs and drums. At the door, Ningxi saw that Yun Shun's face was pale, and he covered his wound from time to time. She frowned and said, You haven't recovered yet. Why do you have to come here in person? Cloudeep's complexion darkened. What? Are you feeling sorry for your lover and afraid that I'll squeeze him dry? Ningxi, screw you. Can't we have a proper conversation? Feng Xiaoxiao shook her head helplessly. Sigh, boss, your EQ. Junior sister was clearly worried about you just now. So, why are we here today? Feng Xiaoxiao waved her hands in confusion. Sure, Xiao. To save people. I'm here to save the kidnappers. No problem, late at night. The white-haired man's back was facing the huge French window. Take over the Qing Xian gang before dawn. It was just a short sentence, but it meant that there would be an unprecedented, bloody storm in the underground world of the imperial capital tonight. Tang Yi nodded, yes. In a private room of a high-end club in the imperial capital. The private room was in a state of luxury. Everyone was enjoying themselves to their heart's content. However, at this moment, the door of the private room was suddenly kicked open with a bang. Chapter 1528. A group of well-trained men dressed in black surrounded the entire room like Rakshasa. Where did you come from? How dare you spoil my mood? Do you want to die? The leader of the group spoke drunkenly. As soon as he finished speaking, a cold, black muzzle of a gun was pressed against his forehead. Submit or die. Who are you? Do you know who I am? I'm the boss of the White Tiger Hall of the Qing Xian gang. A muffled gunshot was heard. A bloody hole appeared in the man's forehead, and he fell to the ground with a thud. The gunshot was muffled, so it was not loud. However, the faces of everyone in the room were drained of color. Kill. Murder, boss, oh my god. How dare they kill Wang Hu? Who else has any objections? The man in black who fired the gun glanced coldly at everyone in the room. Everyone kept quiet out of fear. The black-clothed man next to him drew a line on a piece of white paper and crossed out the 3 words White Tiger Hall with a horizontal line. Next. At the same time, the same thing was happening in various places in the capital. The entire capital was shrouded in a thick haze, in a luxurious manner halfway up the mountain. In the study, a man stumbled into the room. Boss! Bad news. Bad news. Why are you so flustered? What are you doing? Just now, our branches in the capital were attacked by unknown people. Within an hour, 11 of our branches have been taken over. What did you say? Meng Jinhuan was furious. Who are they? How dare they? They're too fast. I haven't found out who they are yet. I only noticed that their clothes seem to have the letters on them. What? Meng Jinhuan's expression changed. Did you see it clearly? I saw it clearly. Boss, are they on Satan's side? The subordinate shuddered as he spoke. He really couldn't think of a second person who could achieve this in such a short period of time and dare to do such a thing. Impossible. Meng Jinhuan immediately denied his subordinate's speculation. When that person first entered the imperial capital, he had already arranged to meet with him to find out his attitude. From the looks of it, the other party had no intention of interfering with the underground forces in the capital. In fact, he even told them not to be nervous and to do as they pleased. Why would he do such a thing without any warning? Then, could it be that we've offended someone recently? The subordinate was puzzled. Wait, let me make a call. Meng Jinhuan muttered to himself as he searched for a number on his phone. However, no one picked up for a long time. The uneasiness in Meng Jinhuan's heart grew heavier, and he could only dial another number. This time, it finally connected. Hey, young Master Yi, I'm really sorry for disturbing you so late at night. My subordinates just reported that many of our branches have been attacked, and the attackers seem to have the emblem of your organization on them. It's Satan's order. A cold, emotionless voice came from the other end of the line. Meng Jinhuan didn't seem to be able to react to these words. His face suddenly turned pale. WH, what? Why would Satan do that? Last time, he clearly said he wouldn't. On this point, I suggest Mr. Meng to investigate the reason himself, after saying that the person on the other end of the phone directly hung up. Chapter 1529. After listening to Tang Ye's words, Meng Jinhuan was dumbfounded. What did she mean by investigating the cause? Was it because of his side? Did his people offend that person? How is that possible? Meng Jinhuan made a few more calls and finally found some clues. One of the gang leaders reminded him to go home and ask his daughter. Ask she? How would she know? Meng Jinhuan was even more confused, but he still called her over. Dad, you called me? Why are you disturbing my beauty sleep in the middle of the night? Meng Shi pouted coquettishly, her face impatient. What have you been doing lately? Meng Jinhuan asked in a low voice. What else can I be doing? Filming, shopping, getting my beauty done. What else? Nothing else. Think about it. Meng Jinhuan slammed the table. Meng Shi was shocked. She looked at her father's pale face and finally regained her composure. I didn't do anything. Why are you so mean to me? Did you offend anyone recently? Dad, what are you talking about? Who deserves the word offend? Meng Shi said proudly. Meng Jinhuan's expression was ugly. He said sternly, Satan's people are taking control of our gang. They're almost at our doorstep. Do you know that? Why aren't you thinking about what you did to make him unhappy? I've asked around, and he asked me to come back and ask you. And you're saying you didn't offend anyone? Meng Shi's expression changed. That's impossible. I'm just what? Meng Jinhuan immediately sensed that something was wrong and asked cautiously. Meng Shi bit her lip and said guiltily, I just taught a vixen whose seduced brother Shin a lesson. Meng Jinhuan slammed the table angrily. That's most likely what happened. Where is he? Hurry up and let him go. He might still have a chance to live if he apologizes personally. While Meng Jinhuan was speaking, another 7 or 8 people came in one after another with blood all over their bodies. One branch after another was destroyed in an instant. Boss. Green Dragon Hall can't hold on anymore. Boss. City C is under control too. Boss. City D has rebelled. In the middle of the study, Meng Shi stared blankly at the people going in and out, as well as the room full of leaders asking her father what they should do. She felt like she was dreaming. Just a moment ago, she was still a spoiled young lady who could do whatever she wanted. How did she become a stray dog in the blink of an eye? Meng Jinhuan didn't want to talk to his daughter anymore. He quickly found out what happened today and asked his men to bring in all the people who kidnapped Ning Shi. Boss, I'm fine. I'm fine. That lady isn't scathed. He had already been rescued by someone. We were afraid that the eldest miss would blame us, so we didn't dare to tell the truth. The small person in charge of the branch answered with trepidation. He was just the person in charge of a small branch. This was the first time he had seen so many big shots, and his legs were trembling. Meng Jinhuan heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that the girl was fine. He then asked, she was rescued? Who saved them? I don't know who they are. I've never seen any of them before, but I can tell that they're not to be trifled with. Oh, right, there are 2 groups of people leading them. One of them is a little special with white hair. White hair. Meng Jinhuan stood up immediately. Chapter 1530. Satan had personally gone to save her, which showed how important that woman was to him. And she had kidnapped that woman. Who is that woman? Meng Jinhuan asked. A small-time artist called Ning Shi. Meng Jinhuan fell back into his chair, his last glimmer of hope dashed. It's over. It's really over, Dad. She's just a small-time artist. She's been kidnapped. Besides, isn't she fine? Why are you so nervous? I'll apologize to Brother Shun. Meng Jinwan slapped Meng Shi's face. Do you know who she is? She's Tang Shi, Tang Yi, and Feng Xiaoxiao's junior. The only woman by Yunshin's side. Not long ago, Yinshun forbade anyone from touching her. Didn't I warn you before that you can touch any woman around Yinshin except for her? A certain small leader who had just been abused by Ning Shi to the point of crying for his parents today. Holy shit. That woman was the legendary Tang Shi that didn't die in vain today. Meng Jinwan never thought that he would be harmed by his own daughter. Meng Shi was in a panic. But how did I know she was Tang Shi? In fact, she was even more angry because of what her father said to her. In addition, the matter of Yinshin saving Ning Shi made her dizzy, so she ignored her father's warning and attacked Ning Shi. How could she know that she had caused such a big trouble? Boss, the most important thing now is to think of a solution, one of his men reminded him. A sect that had been around for 100 years was about to collapse overnight. Everyone wore an expression of extreme fear. Meng Jinwan looked dejected. If it was someone else, an apology might work, but now... I'm afraid it won't work even if I kill my own daughter. Meng Jinwan paused, then said, Go, send someone to find Lu Tingxiao. The only one who can save us now is the Sixth Conglomerate. After all, the Azure Mystic Gang had controlled the capital and the surrounding underground kingdoms for a long time, and the Sixth Conglomerate was involved in many aspects. If the Azure Mystic Gang was destroyed, it meant that the capital would fall into the hands of other organizations, and the Sixth Conglomerate wouldn't sit idly by. Yes, I'll go right now. The subordinate left in a hurry. Time ticked by, and the sun began to rise from the east. The subordinate who went to ask for help finally returned. How is it? What did Mr. Six say? Everyone's eyes fell on him. The person who asked for help had a defeated look on his face. Mr. Six, what's going on? Hurry up and tell me. Meng Jinwan urged angrily. I went to contact Mr. Six people, but they replied that, say what? He said that we should be glad that it was Satan who did it, and not the Sixth Conglomerate. What is this? Everyone, including Meng Jinwan, was dumbfounded. Why does the Six Clans want to deal with us? Exactly. Satan did it for a woman, but what about Lu Tingxiao? Amidst the quarrel, a weak voice rang out. It was the small leader from earlier. I just said that there were two groups of people who saved the girl, and the other group seems a bit like CEO Lu. What did you say? In that instant, everyone's eyes fell on the small leader in disbelief. The small leader shuddered. I didn't dare to believe it at first. I was afraid that I'd mistaken him for someone else, so I didn't dare to say anything. After all, I've never seen that person before. However, I've seen his bodyguard, Shi Xiao, once. Today, I think I saw Shi Xiao following behind him. That you're tuning in to the Eternal Immortal Ballad YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.